Hey there, everybody. What's happening? Get ready to get started. Hit that like, share the show. So much to cover. How in the world? How am I supposed to do it? How am I supposed to do it in the time allotted? Oh, yes. Welcome to the show. Hey, everybody. Welcome. How you doing? Good to see you. Welcome. Hi, chat room, the greatest chat room in the history of chat rooms. Fantastic to have you here with me today. Yes, normally elf hair, looks very different, but with the beard and stuff, I look less like I should be in Lord of the Rings and more I should be in Molly Hatchet, but it works for me for right now anyways. It's going to have to come off soon because we're announcing all these Nerd Halen dates, and I'm just going to have to be in character. It's just the reality. Don't get me started on how much my agent wants me to cut my hair. May happen. But I can rock whatever look I want to. Just get used to that idea, you crazy people. Don't even start with me saying I'm all trapped in fashion. Not happening. No, sir. Forget about it and move on to something else. God damn, I got some... Let's see, what fanciness can I wear over here? I've got a outfit I can probably... I got something I could put on. How about this? I'll just do the show. Hey man, I'll just do the whole fucking show like this. Really screw up the maggots, man. They won't even know who to get mad at. I got to tell you, with the beard and the almost mulletization of tying up only the top half of my hair, the hat fucking works. This is the first time I put on this hat, and I was like, it doesn't seem a little silly. Shit. Come on now. Hal needs a Scottish battle sword. I happen to have a true Celtic battle sword upstairs. Because, for home defense. That said, because I've never seen a knife go through a wall and strike an innocent bystander across the street. You know what I mean? Just makes sense to me. It's a good... it could be a bit Stevie Ray. I could see that. Shit. All right, we got... Okay. Kid Rock's non-evil twin. Except I actually sing my own shit. That said, hey guys, reason to celebrate though, get excited. JD Vance has finally secured a little over half of the party's nomination with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 other people running in the background. And he really comes out ahead with Trump Jr. running in second place. I don't know who's fucking floating that. Cruz is all the way down at 3%. RFK Jr. is at 6%. Nobody's out of single digits except Trump Jr. in this other version, which again, please God, let them try that nonsense. Holy shit. But Vance is at 52%. It's squaring off with a heavy lead. With the rest of the party divided amongst almost everybody. Youngkin's on the list, although he gets 0. Wouldn't you think in a percentage fight that you'd have to at least chart to be on the list? Or is this just an assumptive list? Somebody wants his name in there whether it deserves to be or not. They're better off running Glenn Duncan. Who knows? So Vance is... everybody in the party is real happy about that. They're excited about what this means for them. And they're so, jazzed to have somebody with lightning level riz. Just a tempest in a teapot of a man. A manila envelope filled with lava. The energy exuding from this dweeb of a man. The only, the kind of guy who, like Don Jr. and others like him, managed to grow a beard and make their chin look smaller, which I'm not sure how you do, but they managed to make it happen. Just saying. Yep. There are also, and yeah, well, I don't know, like this kind of there are apparently rumblings that an Epstein victim says there are tapes of Donald Trump that will force him to resign from the presidency. And of course, as the story started to wind itself up, today is of course Friday the Epsteinth, and it's making everybody very nervous around them parts. And I have to say the reviews are in on Pam Bondi's performance, and it's unanimous, kids. Apparently, the marching orders she got from Donald Trump to just go out there guns a-blazing and
I don't think that Pam Bondi
and let these stupid people have it, amounted to a hill of shit, quite frankly, and not like nowhere. Like, it's bad when Ben Shapiro comes out and goes, "Okay, guys, look at the title. This did not go well." Okay, on the standard of going to Home Depot to buy one piece of wood in a bag, like this was that of congressional testimonies. Okay, this did not go well. This is a comment too. Here's a mess of a hearing. Former Trump lawyer on AG Bondi's testimony on Capitol Hill. Now, might be sour grapes or jealousy because she should have gotten the job, but she's too brunette, I heard. Where are the arrests? Pam Bondi haunted by major mistakes in huge hearing. Mistakes? Oh, you sad little man. You sad, sad little man. You think what she's doing is a mistake? GTF OOH. The 5 says this is out of control. I assume this is part of this. And then we'll get to Rogan and the files. And then, of course, one of the other people, by the way, who says that went badly was this. I don't know if this is a thumb or PDB's interviewing his own uncircumcised mushroom, but Bondi is part of the cover-up. Alex Jones torches Pam Bondi over Epstein files hearing. Well, guess what? So is whoever hired her if they don't fire her. So just so you know, if you're saying she's part of the cover-up and she's not fired for what she's done as part of that cover-up, especially in July when she released that fucking memo, if Trump didn't hire her when she released that, it's because he made her release that. You putz. Okay, so I want to see everybody, the amount of Trump turd polishing that will go on during this let's blame Bondi. It's the woman's fault. And again, Trump puts women in charge of departments that he intends to destroy, and that includes the DOJ. So let's just, and his first choice was Matt Gaetz, who was, basically was the Timu Jeffrey Epstein, and was filling in an attempt to rebuild Jeffrey Epstein's compromat and sex pest empire for all these rich guys. And like, hey, Epstein's dead. We could just move in and start our own. And he and Joel started their own He-Man Woman Haters Club out of there. But let's hear Alex Jones explain to me how Pam Bondi is part of the cover, but Trump isn't. Anybody?
What is the risk for Bondi to speak to them?
Again, I want to be clear. I'm trying to show people the different angles of the 35,000-foot view.
I'm trying to help people bullshit themselves through the lens of while wearing bullshit-colored glasses on a diet of almost complete bullshit, which gives me acid reflux.
I think Bondi's handled this terribly. I believe.
Nope, she's handled it exactly as Trump would want her to. So if she's handled it terribly, it's because Trump told her to.
They are involved in a cover-up, which has led them right into this disaster. And I'm going to answer your question, but first I want to say this. That's why Trump has to go there with all the human sacrifice, with the blood drinking, with the black magic on the...
He already has. Oh, you mean bring it up. I'm sorry. I thought you meant participate. My bad.
Blackboard, with the buried bodies, with the buying babies.
And, okay, with the buried bodies buying babies. Love that. Fabulous. You wrote that down. Adorable. Is that part of your Epstein children's book you're planning to release in defense of Trump? Your buried bodies. Does the buried bodies include Ivana on the golf course? Or are we just, I mean, that wouldn't technically be true because most of us don't think she's in there and that it's actually a crate full of evidence and compromat that has been, buried and hidden away. Perhaps.
With the disappearing children, and it's all Democrats connected to it. Instead, as Bondi...
Sorry, so Bondi is covering up for Democrats now. All the Democrats signed off on the discharge petition. We had to get 4 Republicans just so that it would pass. Those Republicans' lives are in danger. One of them, Thomas Massey, had to say today, go on Twitter and say he's not suicidal because he's afraid some maggot's gonna fucking kill him. But it's all Democrats.
Said in the hearing yesterday, she said it'll bring down the stock market if this is known. I've said that about 500 times. Not that I agree with that, but I've been told.
But, all right, again, who the fuck is telling this guy anything at this point? And if he is, where's the fucking aliens? Stop it. At some point, man.
Before Trump got reelected, they said, listen, Mossad, British intelligence, CIA ran this. It's really a giant money laundering operation, which we already knew.
Right, and Trump needs a lot of his money laundered, and that's why he was friends with the guy and worked with him for years. They were fellow travelers. Same bankers.
Mike Pence proven. Trump believes that it's also cold. There's no way to prove it. The Democrats have had the file. They're going to twist it. He's been convinced it's all disaster. It's old news. It's designed to be...
Sorry, it's a cold case and nobody's interested? Yeah. Does it... How is that possible? As much fucking TV as this asshole watches.
Guitar baby, which it is, so he's going to say, let's just move on. But
yeah, that's why. It's not because he's in it. It's not because he was friends with the dude for fucking 30 years.
Explained at the time, and I've told the White House this, you can't. It's a trap. This is how the people...
Yeah, it's a trap because he's all over the files. And the stuff they've hidden and aren't releasing is all him. They even, some of the stuff they let out is because it was already in public view and they figured they couldn't get away with trying to hide it again. Other stuff they put up and pulled down and they haven't put it back up that involves Trump. But let's just understand, at this point, any adult male whose name is redacted at this point or has not been shown because they're in other unreleased materials, is in business with or a direct employee of or a friend of Donald Trump's, or Donald Trump himself. Any victim that hasn't had their name redacted at this point because they basically flooded it with it is Donald Trump's victims, because those names can be tied to him. And every other page that they don't release, I think it's our right to assume that it's because Donald Trump is all over them. Videos, photos, documents, contracts, anything. If they're not releasing it, it's because it's Trump. Period.
That are guilty trick you into becoming an accomplice.
One more time. Poor little Trump. This is what happened to him? Sorry?
And then manage it.
Hold on. Back the fuck up. Hold on. I don't know why the audio...
Turn it around and politically destroy you. It's designed to be a tar baby, which it is, so he's going to say, let's just move on. But I explained at the time, and I've told the White House this, you can't. It's a trap. This is how the people that are guilty trick you into becoming an accomplice.
Yes. The people that are guilty trick you into becoming an accomplice, which one would think would be very difficult for someone as wise and wily as Donald Trump.
I do it because I have a good memory, because I'm cognitively there.
So, yeah, I don't know how that guy, Trump is so smart though. He knows more about ISIS than the generals do. So how could he be suckered into this? I mean, if he says something, we can just rewind it and have,
Action replays in magnified fortune.
you know what I mean? And, or is there something else that in there that's
Not good.
probably?
And then manage it and turn it around and politically destroy you. And then, of course, none of the truth ever comes out. It's all.
Wouldn't this have, if this is true, wouldn't this have been easily handled in January of last year, just dumping the shit on the internet? You do realize they only had to pass a bill to release this shit because Trump had the DOJ release a document that said nothing to see here and Epstein killed himself. Like, that's why it passed.
A giant smokescreen of garbage and fake AI and the rest of it. So I was just simply bringing that clip up, not to obfuscate from the clip, that's why I raised it, but to say, here's the other layers.
Yeah, dude, it's so layered. Like, it has nothing to do with the fact that Donald Trump managed to miss the fact that Jeffrey Epstein was a pedophile when everybody else, it immediately occurred to them as soon as they met him, and they were either proud fellow travelers or they ran for the hills, or in the case of Lutnick, lied about one and did the other. But Donald Trump apparently was a fucking mystery, even though he did an article where he said he likes him on the younger side. And he just didn't see it. He was over at the house. He was getting laid. He was partying with Epstein. They were on each other's planes all the fucking time. They were at each other's houses. They had a private party. They did this. He helped arrange these calendar girl events, this look of the year events with David Copperfield. And it's just layers, bro. It's just Trump's basically like he's so far undercover that he doesn't, like, he started to wonder if am I a cop pretend to be a drug dealer? I ain't nothing but a drug dealer pretending to be a cop.
To it that are going on. Now, to answer your other question, yes, this looks absolutely horrible.
No. Oh, no. No, it doesn't. No, it does not. It does not look absolutely horrible. Fuck you. It is absolutely horrible. Pam Bondi is horrible. What she is doing on behalf of Donald Trump is horrible. It doesn't look horrible. It's not a PR problem. It's not a stretch. It's not a mistake. It's not unfortunate. That's one of my favorite words. Oh, that was an unfortunate performance. No, it was directed on purpose. And the reason it's shitty, it looks shitty, is because it is shitty.
She looks like a deer in the headlights. She looks like she has a gun to her head. Like
she does, kinda. She's not in the files, dummy.
We saw Bongino.
Her boss is.
And Patel 11 months ago get up on Fox. And they go, I know we said there were another shooter in Pennsylvania. There wasn't. Epstein acted alone. In fact, he wasn't even a child trafficker, and he had no accomplices, and he killed himself, and the Easter Bunny is real. And everybody turned.
And who hired them? It's funny that all three of these people you brought up all were for releasing all this information and telling the truth, which you were convinced is still there. And then they got hired by this one fucking guy, and then they changed their story. Do you think he might have had any participation in their rebirth at all? This doesn't, none of this. It's all them. They were just waiting to flip-flop. These three people that you had tremendous faith in and were all excited about because they were warriors for the cause and Christ and they were going to bring down this whole fucking thing. It was just, this is their nature. They got in there and they flipped. And Trump hires all of them. And it's just a mistake on his part. Even though he's in the files over 1 million times. And he knew the guy for over 25 years. They partied together. So the guy that hires the woman who could have tore up the non-prosecution agreements against people like him. Trump would have been one of the people. Trump is one of the people who was protected by the non-prosecution agreement in Florida. Pam Bondi could have tore that up and gone after it and started looking into it. She didn't. And her reward? She's the fucking AG.
Against him because we'd already studied it. We knew it wasn't true. Plus, it was a 180. So it's the same thing.
If it's not true and it's a 180, then it is true? Shit.
It looks terrible. It is terrible. It's hurting Trump really bad. It's hurting America. And again, my frustration
It's more hurting Trump, actually.
is it lets the Democrats, who are the ones that are really guilty, if you look at the evidence, pretend that it's Trump and the Republicans that are the pedo protection party.
No, we're not pretending. They are. They literally, it took an act of Congress. And the people who signed on to it immediately, the majority, including all of one side, were Democrats who signed on to this. Republicans are the pedo protection party right now. And they have been, and they will continue to be.
And notice they're not going to the big reports of top Democrats and people raping kids and all the witnesses and everything. They're focusing on Lutnick, which is fine. Lutnick obviously was in business with him, obviously moved in next door to him.
Obviously went to the island, obviously brought his children, obviously brought his nannies, obviously said he left the island with all of his children, but didn't mention whether he left with all of his nannies. Obviously.
Lied and said he only saw him once and thought he was a creep and ran out of his house with his wife. And then a couple of years later, he's out at his island with his kids. Okay, yeah, no. But
And Trump hired him. And Trump hired him. Trump specifically hired him. Like, our economic, advisors, dime a dozen. They're literally the easiest job to get. Especially if guys have already feathered their nest, because they know they'll get such insider information that no matter how long they're there, even if they're fired after 6 months, they'll have so much information that they can make millions, if not billions, after the fact. So economic advisors, there's a line around the fucking block of people to choose from. But he managed to pick Epstein's next door neighbor, who lied about his relationship with him, literally took his family to the island. He couldn't find an economic advisor who hadn't brought his family to Epstein Island. What's the percentage rate? Maybe that's my fault. Maybe that's my failing. Maybe statistically, I'm unaware that there's a huge statistical number of economic advisor candidates that have also visited the island, and it's almost impossible to hire one that hasn't. You do realize that if Epstein hadn't died in his cell or been disappeared or murdered, whatever happened, and they'd managed to get the case thrown out and protected him this whole time, and Maxwell had never gone to jail, Trump would have hired Epstein to be in Lutnick's spot. For real.
Lutnick's never been implicated in any of the illegal stuff. Fine.
Dude, there's still a lot of shit hidden.
Fire Lutnick, or if you found him in a crime, indict him. But let's spend as much time on the hardcore cannibalism, Satanism, human trafficking, buying, selling children, and that's Democrats.
They're not there yet. They're not there yet, by the way. It doesn't seem like they're there yet. This is the clip, I think.
I don't know what he means by they're not there yet. Like they don't have enough evidence of it, or it's just code. Like pizza, shows up as many times as kangaroo does.
You were talking about, Rob, you may want to fast forward to the part. No, I get that. Go for it, Rob, when he starts saying, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, look, PDB podcast, Peanut Butter Dickhead's got his own little side, Mar level second interview stage where he has people on as guests with an IKEA desk with a thing attached to it. Dude's rich.
He killed himself. You want me to? I've seen the whole file. He killed himself.
This is the clip you were talking about.
Yes.
Yeah. So, a part of it for me, yesterday I watched the Bondi hearing, and I asked myself, I couldn't find one clip that made her look good.
It's nice you went into it objectively with the goal of just taking it in as it was. Not that we now know that you either have marching orders or have self-directed your program so that you will seek out. You are a reinforcement-seeking clipster for the Trump administration.
Not one. Typically, these hearings, you'll say, okay, she won this one, they won this one, this was even, this was whatever.
It might be the topic. It might just be the whole thing is a big fucking loser for her, and there's no way to spin this. Just throwing that out there.
Nobody won here. She took this one. I don't know if I found the clip. Now, don't get me wrong. The whole fighting back and pushing back and all that stuff, was that present? Sure. Asking Jasmine Crockett, she goes for 5 minutes, doesn't ask a single question, or the other lady who doesn't bring up Hakeem Jeffries, or calling out a lot of these people. That's great. There's a part of it that some people are speculating. Tell me what you think about this. Where
Democrats knew she was just going to bullshit or obfuscate, so they just used their time to shame her to her face because she wasn't there to give actual information.
The DOJ or the AG was monitoring what the representatives were searching when they were going to look.
Oh, wait. Watch Alex Jones excuse them for that. Yeah, of course. Of course they track everybody's search history. You come into that thing and of course the DOJ is going to look at what files you looked at, give them to her so she knows what you've been looking at before she questions you, so she didn't get pinned down by something you know about Trump that she doesn't.
The Epstein files. I don't know if you saw that or not. Rob, do you have that?
I'll find it.
There's a story going around that they were actually monitoring.
It's not a story. You can see her burn book. You can see a list of what she looked at, of what everybody looked at.
These representatives were searching when they went to look at Epstein files. What do you know about that story?
Oh, I'll guarantee you that was going on. I mean, I haven't seen the story, but of course they were.
How have you not seen that story? I'm sorry, I forgot. He actually spends most of his time drinking kerosene and smoking cigars, outside a truck stop.
Everything in those computers is being monitored, and there's a record of it.
So
yeah, but that's not the same thing, dum-dum.
Meaning, if I'm whoever I am, I'm going to go out.
It's just like when you search your own files or you search Google. You're there searching a private database at the DOJ. Of course, they know who logs in, this congressperson, and then now they know what they're going to look at. They have a record of it.
So they know exactly what you're looking at. Why would they want to know what you're looking at?
I mean, by default, that's the way computers work. I don't know if that story is particularly true.
It's true. And yeah, you do. And by default. Okay, first of all, no. In a situation like this, no. There is no evidentiary reason for the DOJ to know what part of files you have access to all of that you were looking at. If you're allowed, by law, required, I would argue, to look at all 3 million pages, which ones you choose to look at is nobody's fucking business. In theory, because you are there as a part of oversight, you are going to bring up exactly what you looked at. And the only people who would want to know ahead of time which ones you looked at so they could rebut it would be co-conspirators. But keep polishing that turd there, Alex.
So that's the way computers work.
Yeah.
That's the way. Thank you. Thank you. Have you ever thought of going for Elon Musk's job?
Where's that story that Rob that's saying that happened?
Right here. This is Representative Nancy Mace of South Carolina said full release of the names of the Epstein files would shock the world. And then there is an article here this morning. Justice Department tracking which Epstein files lawmakers are searching for, opening, and reviewing. According to this is Nancy Mace as well.
Yeah, that's it. That's a 2-month-old story as well on what they're looking at. I guess it makes sense to see what person's story they're interested in. The other.
Why? Why? Why would you need to know that? If you're the White House and the DOJ, what fucking difference does it make which person in the Epstein files they're looking at? Why else? Why other than you need to get ahead of it?
Part of it is.
Well, I mean, no. I mean, it means the watchers are. Who's going to watch the watchers?
Well, the watchers would be the people watching the people with oversight, because the people looking at the files aren't the watchers. They're just doing their congressional duty. They're not overseeing this stuff. The who's watching the watchers would be I guess Trump watching Pam Bondi and people at the DOJ keeping notes.
And so I agree it's Big Brother. I'm just saying by the very nature of it.
Yeah, it's Big Brother, but it's good. It's like sometimes you need a Big Brother. If you're being picked on the playground or something like that, or if your sister's being mean to you, sometimes you need. Big Brother isn't all bad. I always said Big Brother was bad, but in this context, having maybe you're the middle child and he's a Big Brother, but he's not that much bigger.
But they have the technology, so I'm sure they are monitoring what they're watching.
I would assume this is something both sides.
Yeah, asshole. We're not talking about can. We're talking about shouldn't.
It's probably do. The other part of it is, the Dems, they only want one person. They want Trump, right?
No, we want everybody.
They want to get Trump.
No, we want everybody. And Trump is a big player in this. The reason it seems like we have so much attention on him is because you guys spend all your time running interference for him. That's why it feels like that to you, because that's your gig. That's your whole fucking job right now, is to protect Donald Trump individually from the Epstein files. Although I will say that, Alex did a bang up job kind of like softballing it for Lutnick. Like, well, I don't know. Yeah, fire him. I don't give a shit. But, considering what he would have said about a Democrat with those exact same pieces of evidence about them, what do you think? Who brought his kids and his nanny and then said he left with his kids, but didn't mention whether the nannies left? That kind of stuff. What do you think he would have said if that was Hunter? What do you think he would have said if that was fucking Hakeem Jeffries? What do you think? The reason it feels like all we care about is Trump is because the only person you guys are focused on protecting is Trump.
This has been going on under 4 presidents that people have been looking at. Why is it that it's fallen on this administration's mishandling of the files?
Because they did it so egregiously, ran on releasing them, and then didn't, and then had to be forced by Congress to do it, when allegedly that's what they were going to do the whole time. And the Biden administration indicted, tried, and convicted Ghislaine Maxwell, put her in jail for 20 years, and then when Donald Trump gets in, they start offering her cush, saying nothing else happened, and move her to fucking like a cabin on the lake.
Because right now the left is running with this.
Yeah, because we don't give a fuck who goes down with it. It's not going to ruin our lives. It just isn't. Our principles are our principles. They're not based on the human beings involved. And if somebody pretends to be for my principles, but they're really something else, but they, I previously thought they were a good person because of what they were fighting for, because that's what I would have fought for. Once they get taken down, that doesn't change what I'm fighting for. That's the problem you guys have. There is no MAGA without Trump. So you must protect him even though he was a fellow traveler.
They're saying they're hiding it. Massey and Ro Khanna are coming together. This is not a good look on the current administration.
Well, you just nailed it. But going back to your last thing you said about Bonnie, and then I'll cover that, if I may.
You may not.
Even Senator Kennedy, who's a Republican and likes her, he had to tear her up on Epstein. So even Senator Kennedy had to nail her, and that's because she's been sent in there to sell something that isn't going to sell.
Oh, by whom? Who sent her in to sell this? Israel? The Mossad? French intelligence? Who? You prick.
Everybody keeps blaming her.
Right, like you just did.
Blaming even Todd Blanche, who, by the way, doesn't like me. I'm not defending him. They're following Trump's directives.
Yes, right. Finally, he gets there. His directive to obstruct and keep the files that implicate him from being released. Yes.
And I said this, about a year ago when the cover-up started, and it's
oh, that's when it started? Not when Epstein died in jail during Trump?
It's been since confirmed. So it's Trump that thinks it's a distraction and a diversion.
He's making her, he's throwing her to the wolves, making her act like a complete asshole and hide these documents because it's a distraction, which I gotta say, it kind of makes it a bigger distraction.
And tar baby, which it is, but it doesn't matter because
kind of does.
Exactly. The Democrats never wanted to touch it. They covered it up.
They indicted and convicted Ghislaine Maxwell. It was Republicans in Florida that gave the co-conspirators a pass. It was under the the Southern District of Florida that was covered. They were too busy going after Trump's crimes himself, while at the same time, like, the victims were suing the estate, while the victims were actually going to go to trial against him, where there was a case against Maxwell and what he might have left her and others by the victims themselves. So the DOJ stayed out of that too, because of what happened with fucking Cosby.
Control the files. That's why there's all these clips going around. I saw today of Don Lemon, just 3 years ago, going, how dare the Republicans try to investigate the Epstein files? This is bigoted and this is horrible and this is...
What? All right, I gotta call bullshit. It's bigoted to go after the Epstein files? Yeah, I don't. Does anybody know what the fuck that is? Chat room? Anybody? Is it like CSL? Anybody? Does anybody have any fucking idea? Because I gotta call bullshit on that. Extraordinary evidence for that extraordinary claim. No. Don Lemon did not say it was bigoted to go after Jeffrey Epstein.
Crazy, and this is terrible. So, yeah, and that's what Trump should be pointing out. You're the...
No, not yeah. What the fuck? No. Seriously. Where in the world?
Pedo party. You're the sexualized kids party. It's all the Democrats that are in these files. But because there are so many big bankers and British royalty and all of it, he has been told, that's what I was told. Again, I've said this probably 100 times. I said Trump has been convinced that it will crash the economy if all these bankers and people, if this stuff comes out.
What the fuck? The only reason that it would wreck his... Well, first of all, he could excuse it all. He could blame the Epstein stuff on the crash he created with his bullshit economic theories. But also, like, is this where we find out Besant is in there too? I mean, it should be bad enough for most of these assholes that he worked for Soros, who's also named in the Epstein files. Tangentially, Epstein talks, derisively about him with Steve Bannon, I think it was. The only reason it would crash is because, oh shit, Trump's been taking advice from people who lied about their relationship to Jeffrey Epstein. They got to go. There's nobody guarding the henhouse at this point, and Trump doesn't know what the fuck he's doing, and he was in there too. He's not worried about the fucking economy. He's worrying about himself.
And he thinks end justifies the means. It's too dangerous. And look, Trump, I'm not pushing this. I'm saying let's look at his perspective.
Yes, you are pushing this. Shut the fuck up. You're pushing his stool in is what you're doing.
The carbon taxes have been estimated by top experts that they put them in the next decade to kill 2 billion people by starvation or war. Okay, Trump just got us out of the Paris Accord. They've secured the border. They found half of the 500,000 missing children.
No, they didn't. Again, I love how that number triples every time they talk about it. Also, part of what they found was they weren't missing in the first place. They aged out. So they're no longer, an 18-year-old is no longer tracked by child services. That's why. Because a lot of them were that age, and over the course of 3 years, fantastically, a 16-year-old will eventually become 18, 19 years old, and they don't keep track of them after that point because they're adults. That's how they, like, we found half of them. What do you do? Oh, it was a clerical error. The other half, we know where they are. But the ones we lost, it turns out we didn't really lose them. They lost their innocence by becoming fucking adults, legal adults.
They've got no tax on tips, the economy.
Yeah, look at this. You know what? You're right. We should bury the Epstein files for no tax on tips, even though it's bullshit to start with.
It's starting to turn around. It goes on and on.
Starting to turn around.
And on and on and on. Getting men out of women's sports, exposing
all 6 of them.
The NGOs, the election fraud. I mean, it's great. That's why it's paradoxical. I want Trump to succeed, but he has to understand that this has become a litmus test.
They're not going to win here if they continue going this way. If they continue fighting, opening it up.
No, you don't understand, stupid. You see, no matter how bad it gets, opening the files is worse. No matter how bad the electorate turns on Donald Trump without knowing what's in there, it's worse than what will happen if they know what's in there. That's why. And any other conclusion, especially after the multiple levels of there's nothing here, shut the fuck. Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein and the fucking memo in the middle of July and all that kind of stuff? All the steps that they have taken proves this point. One point above all else, that whatever damage he incurs from the wrath of MAGA not releasing these documents and from the electorate is, thank you so much for the super chat, is worse. Whatever's in the documents is worse than that. He has to hide it. If they knew what the blowback he's getting, that Pam Bondi's getting, that Patel and Bongholio is getting, it is nothing compared to the venomous, evil, vitriol outpouring of hatred they will get from MAGA if people saw what's really in there. That's why it's a matter of national security. That's why one of the reasons they can redact stuff is because of national security. That's why they're not even putting those documents in the ones that Congress can look at. Here's a question. 3 million documents released. They're supposed to be unredacted, right? Except for victims' names, they're supposed to be unredacted. There are tons of redactions, though. So they set up a system where the members of Congress can go and look at those pages, those 3 million pages, in that dump via these computers, and they can search through them and all that stuff. The question is, why can't they look at all of it? Why can't they look at all 6 million documents? If it's about stuff that hasn't been released, then that would be covered under this thing. But under the law, they have the right to see all of it. So why doesn't the computer at the DOJ give them the right to see all of the documents, not just the 3 million without redactions? Is anybody asking Peanut Butter Dickhead or Alex Jones or any of these fools that question? Is anybody asking that question? Here's the thing. Fuck the 3 million pages. Why don't members of Congress have the ability, if they so choose, to look at every file that is in Pam Bondi's possession? Period. As the law states.
This is just going to make it seem like they're hiding something more.
No. It's going to show anyone with the capacity for reason that they are hiding something. It's not about inference. It's about recognition. Remember, Trump said he was going to be the common sense president? Well, this is one of those moments, kids. What does common sense tell you when a guy was friends with Jeffrey Epstein for 30 plus years? I'm assuming, since we now know he very well may have been invited to New Year's on 2017 into 2018 at the White House, the year before he was arrested and evaporated. Freeze dried, whatever happened to him. He got turned into a powder and snorted by Don Jr. However, he left this earth, if he indeed did. They were friends that whole time. And common sense would dictate that if other people stopped hanging out with him because it was bad news, stopped being around him, didn't do interviews where they said he loves his social life and he likes women on the younger side, that the people who did might have known what was going on and were cool with it. At least after the 5th year, or the 7th, or the 8th, or the 12th year, the 15th year, after the 17th year, after the 19th, after the 22nd year, after 25 years of hanging out with that motherfucker, common sense would dictate that you knew. He flew on your plane, you flew on his. You heard what other people were saying. You didn't hang out with other people because you were worried about the stench that would come off of it. And you hung out with a bunch of other people that were very much like him. Diddy comes to mind.
More and more and more. Guys, you've been asking this for a long time.
No, nobody's asking you to sell fucking sweaters or whatever the fuck your merch is. This is the oddest fucking push. This dude is supposedly like one of these like hip trading crypto guys, and he sells hats at the end of his show. It's like, I get it. Have some merch, but fuck me. It's so lame. All right. So, well, let's jump in and see if this guy Jesse Kelly, who we've seen a couple of times, his big graphic red background, ominous. Where are the arrests? Pam, and the title of this one, Pam Bondi, haunted by major mistakes in huge hair. Mistakes? I don't know. Let's see what he takes away from it. We're just going to do the preamble at the top.
Communists using your values against you. We'll talk
Mine?
about that. And
Oh, you mean like Chomsky, who was friends with Jeffrey Epstein a lot, but then Trump was friends with Jeffrey Epstein, so maybe that's why he's trying to nationalize all these industries, because he got like a communism STD from a massage he got at Epstein. Is that where you're going? No.
what the angle is. Steve Dace joins us. All kinds of wonderful stuff tonight on I'm Right.
Wonderful.
Before we get to the rest of our wonderful show,
Communism versus Christianity. Get his free book. Okay. Please tell me. Okay, understanding the enemy's tactics and why. Let's get to the Bondi shit, though. I don't care about the rest of this. This is like his whole fucking show. Scripture, something like that. What is this? Who's this? Somebody on Joe Rogan. That's communism subverting the scriptures, something like that. See, it's cells here. Religion of okay, here we go. So this is them reacting to Pam Bondi, I think.
it's too much to get to. I know Pam Bondi is one of those things that make people's heads pop off, myself included.
Well, I do you save some of that vitriol for the dude who hired her?
Steve,
No.
I'm just going to hand you the show. Go ahead.
If you were auditioning to be a cable news contributor, then her testimony on Wednesday was phenomenal.
No, I think she made a better Jerry Springer guest than a cable news commentator. I think you would sound shrill and annoying, especially on a morning show like Fox and Friends. It would just never fly. Imagine what that would sound like on Taco Tuesday.
But that's not her job. And to pivot off of what her job is as the head of the Justice Department.
Oh no! It's she's the Epstein deflection, I guess, agent.
Is to go after crime and corruption in America.
Yes, I recognize that's hilarious.
To defend the American people against crime and corruption. And for her to pivot off of that to, well, look at the NASDAQ, look at the stock market, was embarrassing. And frankly, beneath the dignity of her office.
Well, so is her being in that role. So, I mean, in her defense, she was second choice after Matt Gaetz. This ship has fucking sailed.
And she's just been a disappointment from the beginning.
Sorry, I feel like this is missing something. Go ahead.
The stunt that she tried to pull, the binders with some of our most important influencers on our side, that she basically just coerced into turning themselves into, self-parodies and risking their credibility when these people do some very important work in getting our message out to our people, exposing things like the Libs for TikTok gal who's exposed more evil in America the last few years than she has. So
you do realize it's a problem when you have the House, the Senate, and the presidency. He has he's got his own choice running the AG, and you're saying that the person who's outed the most evil in the country or whatever is from the Libs of TikTok. You would hope that she would be the person that would do that, or at least Trump, I guess. But neither one of them. You might. Could you possibly? Nope. Just gonna blame the chick. I'm sorry. I sometimes I'm like, are they gonna realize that it's Trump? And then I'd go, no, of course not. They're gonna blame the woman that he put in place, and that's why he does it.
So this thing has been a point of diminishing returns almost from the moment she took it. And you know what's funny is
the files or the office of the AG. What are the returns you're supposed to get from the Justice Department?
this is a Democrat trail of tears. 90%, with the exception for every Howard Lutnick, there's 100 Democrats or their associates getting dragged right now through the Epstein files disclosure. We are taking.
Yeah, and Democrats don't seem to mind. Do you notice how the Democrats all signed on to the petition? So statistically, it's not a problem for us. It seems to be there's two ways to judge things, especially with it when it comes to the displacement of water, which often causes tidal waves. One is volume, and the other is weight. In the terms of the speed of a drop of weight versus the volume displacement can have an equal amount of displacement of the liquid, but one is more ferocious and causes more damage. Think of an asteroid in the water as opposed to a giant rainstorm that puts just as much pressure on the water over time, but doesn't really register because it happens over a long period of time, and you just move your house back and go, fuck that, I'm not living that close to the beach anymore. That's where Democrats are. Republicans are in the asteroid hitting the ocean thing, and they've all got beachfront property. That's what this is about. If this is a litany of Democrats, none of the Democrats on that panel have come out and said, like, we need to stop looking at this. Not a one. None of the Democrats, if this is a litany of Democrats, have come out and said, we need to move on from this. I mean, let's put this behind us, really. There's nothing to see here. None of them. Not a one. They're more than happy to talk about whoever's in there. There's a distinct difference, though, between that and the Republicans, where Donald Trump's current favorite quote is, are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? I mean, come on. I think the country's ready to move on.
Taking on political, liability on this on our side, Jesse, for literally no ROI at all.
Oh, no. There's a huge ROI on this. The return on investment is keeping Trump's real activities with and around and through Jeffrey Epstein hidden from your base. That's what this is for. You're getting a shit ton out of this, dummy. You're lucky as fuck that she's been able to distract this way.
Absolutely nothing. The administration wants to get rid of Thomas Massie. I understand they want a more loyal person in his seat. I get that.
Loyal? Yeah, but loyal to who? How is he disloyal by wanting the Epstein files out? That's really, that in and of itself, shouldn't that ring a bell in your fucking empty dome? For real. How is he disloyal for voting to release the Epstein files? If Trump's not in them and all over them and in danger of having his entire life torn to pieces because of his involvement and that of his friends, then why would he be mad at Massie at all? Why did Massie have to force his hand in the first place?
Well, now you've just given Massie an issue for the last few months to get to your right and make himself more valuable to his constituents than he previously was, which is this
Why would that be?
Epstein issue. This entire thing has just been mishandled from day.
No. It's not mishandled. This is design.
Day one. And it's one of the things that if you're there are three groups of people that put us over the top in the last.
Three groups of people. Here we go.
Last election. Hispanic men, the Maha crowd, and young men. We tied with young men, the best showing with young men in over 20 years. Well, those young men are the ones listening to Sean Ryan and Joe Rogan and Theo Vaughn, Andrew Schultz. Trump was on those shows and was amazing on those shows.
No, he wasn't. He just showed up, period, and was a joke. He was a meme, and they meme voted for him again.
And they thought, hey, the guy that got shot in the face, he's going to be the one that's
clipped in the ear by a piece of glass from his teleprompter
to expose all this evil.
By the way, do you think his face looks like that because he was shot in the face? It's just ugly.
And instead, he's just been fighting us on this to some varying degree for the last 7 or 8 months now.
So common sense would dictate that you would maybe ask why.
And we are allowing something that should be an albatross around about 90% of it should be an albatross around Democrats, and we are absorbing this as a political expense on our own side. And
So maybe, let me flip this. Maybe it's a 90-10 issue, but the problem that you have is that 90% of it is the borderline gross, innocuous, and stuff as far as the Democrat side. And then the 10% that's Republicans and people around Trump is the baby-eating, kid-fucking, murder, throwing people off of a boat and stealing children and all that kind of stuff side, and that's all on the Republican side. Maybe it's not an even 90-10. You know what I mean? Maybe the standards and categories are not, say, equal. Maybe there's 90% of the activities with Epstein, and there's 10% of it was just vile, evil shit. But 90% of those people are Republicans, and 10% of them are Democrats. And on this other side, where it was like just gross and innocuous, it's, 90% Democrats and 10% Republicans. You see how this is starting to break down? You start to understand why Trump would tell her, don't you fucking dare let them see that shit. You get the idea that maybe that's why she would get marching orders to go and attack people over this stuff, which he ran on releasing, which he didn't really run on releasing, but everybody lives under that illusion, so fuck 'em.
frankly, Jesse, it just makes no sense to me at all.
That's because you're willfully ignorant and you support him. So, you will, I don't know, you'll stand behind him, let him blow diarrhea all over your fucking face and I don't know, call it sunshine. I don't get it. Like,
It doesn't make sense to me. Look, one final thing that doesn't make
yeah, and then let's move on.
sense to me. I've only got about a minute here. Maria Salazar is a piece of trash Republican from Florida trying to pass amnesty, and she, of course, gets the Trump endorsement yesterday. I'm so tired of this, Steve.
Sorry. So not only is Trump covering for baby-eating pedophiles, but some lady's trying to give amnesty to people who've lived here for 15 years, and Trump just endorsed her because if he doesn't, she'll lose the district to a Democrat. It's just, I don't quite... Good Lord. And it didn't stop there, kids. There is a like a run of this stuff. Hold on one second. Where is she? Yeah. So Massey brought up, and this is, so I want to tell you, like, Thomas Massey brought up he posted on X, I guess, that he is not suicidal. He gets his brake lines checked regularly. There are no standing bodies of water on his land, and he can swim very well. Like, all, half joking, but with the idea of like, yeah, this is like, we're coming after likely very dangerous people. So, likely incriminated in Epstein files. Rep. Massey tries to uncover why names were redacted. It's really interesting how Newsmax writes this. Likely incriminated in Epstein files, Rep. Massey. Now, there's a colon here, but it's meant to, like, if you squint and you're not paying that much attention to the punctuation, it almost feels like they're trying to make it look like Rep. Massey likely incriminated in Epstein files. Right? It tries to uncover why names were redacted, like his name, maybe. You know what I mean?
Some of these perpetrators that rape these women that are sitting behind you, that you refuse to even acknowledge they are here.
I'm talking. I'm
if they're
talking.
not privileged,
Quiet.
don't yell at me.
When Merrick Garland was head of the DOJ, they couldn't have cared less about this story.
Well, actually, they indicted and put Ghislaine Maxwell in jail for 20 years. And they were in the process of the victims suing because the statute of limitations had run out. There wasn't a lot that the federal government at that point could do. And they were allowing the civil part of it to move forward so that they could get a piece of Epstein's estate. And that those lawsuits were ongoing. That would be the thing. Yeah.
Frauds, every single one of them.
And also there was a hold on the evidence because of her appeal till January of 2024, till the beginning of the year.
And although Pam Bondi had a rough day today,
Did she, though?
She did level them on that point.
They are talking about Epstein today. This has been around since the Obama administration.
Yeah, when Trump was friends with him, when they were partying together.
This administration released...
Sorry, that's also... Well, no, it was before that, I think, wasn't it? Yeah, it was during Bush that the non-prosecution agreement against the co-conspirators was put in by Alex Acosta. She became AG after that, I think during Obama, and protected those guys as well while she was in there. And Alex Acosta got a sweet deal as labor secretary to kind of help him rehab his image and had to step down because of the deal he gave to Epstein, which, by the way, that scandal is what took him out of that office. So everybody nobody even cared about this till is horseshit.
Over 3 million pages of documents. Over 3 million
pages of documents. Somebody realizes they're talking under oath and are being very selective in their language.
And Donald Trump signed that law.
Because, like Ted Lieu pointed out very well, it was voted in by a veto-proof majority.
To release all of those documents. He is the most transparent president in the nation's history. And none of them asked Merrick Garland over the last 4 years one word about Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, I don't think that's true either. There was a lot of hold on. Well, shit. Let's just let's see. Okay. During one moment, please. Here's Ghislaine Maxwell's prosecution predated Garland's turn. She was arrested in 2020, convicted in 2021 in Southern District, New York. Garland was the leader of the trial, but under DOJ continued to defend her conviction against legal challenges. When Maxwell's lawyer asked the Supreme Court to overturn her conviction based on a 2008 non-prosecution agreement between Epstein and federal prosecutors, the Alex Acosta page. This is the DOJ filed briefs urging the court to uphold the conviction, rejecting the argument that the plea deal immunized Maxwell. The Supreme Court declined to hear her appeal in 2025, which is why her habeas corpus thing will probably get thrown out. Garland didn't prosecute Maxwell personally, but the DOJ under his leadership continued to support the legal outcome, push back Epstein co-conspirators. No new federal prosecutions under Garland. Despite persistent public and congressional focus, the DOJ under Garland did not bring new criminal charges against any of their alleged co-conspirators of Jeffrey Epstein specifically. There is no record of Garland's DOJ indicting, arresting, or prosecuting anyone beyond Epstein and Maxwell of co-conspiracy in the sex trafficking scheme. Federal documents released under the Epstein Files Transparency Act include references to potential co-conspirators, Leslie Groff, Jean-Luc Brunel, Les Wexner, and internal emails referencing grand jury subpoenas of up to 10 co-conspirators, but those individuals have not faced criminal charges as of early 2026. Many of the names remain redacted or obscured. In the released DOJ repository, congressional lawmakers and survivors have criticized the DOJ for not using this material to pursue further prosecutions, criticism directed towards the DOJ decision makers, including Garland's office. In short, they did this. Okay. Congressional focus on DOJ transparency, not additional charges. Let's see, oversight, criticism. But some members of Congress and survivors argue that DOJ stopped pursuing an active criminal inquiry into other conspirators. Lawmakers such as Rep. Jamie Raskin accused the DOJ under Garland transitioning into the Trump administration, so both, of effectively ending a broader criminal investigation into co-conspirators when the files were moved and the case was not actively pursued further. DOJ positions have asserted they didn't uncover evidence of sufficient to pursue additional charges beyond what was already charged Epstein, who died in custody, and Maxwell. In practical terms, this means Garland DOJ did not escalate prosecution of other alleged co-conspirators despite public and congressional pressure. So there was congressional pressure, is the key thing, under him. I think a lot of us were disappointed by Garland slow rolling, even going after Trump, much less people associated with Epstein. Here's what it did happen. Let's see. Massive releases of DOJ files under congressional mandate. Garland's DOJ oversaw compliance, but did not assert direct control over individual documents. They just released what they were told to release. Oversight and transparency beyond responded to subpoenas. They produced records. Told committees they lacked detailed personal knowledge of file contents because they didn't have them at the time. No indictments of new federal prosecutions brought. Documents released, but identities largely redacted and no further charges public. That's the FBI documents we've seen so far that should have been redacted before they were sent to the DOJ this time, according to the law. DOJ defended the conviction and opposed appeals. No new prosecution before Garland's conviction was from before Garland's term, but into Biden. There you go. Because she was arrested in 2020, was it? Yeah, and then tried in 2021. Hold on, this is the other one. So yeah, Congress complained about it. The people complained about it. The DOJ didn't do anything on it because federally there didn't seem to be new information. You'd kind of need a new law, for example, that said that, like the Epstein Survivors Act law that Schumer put forward with some of the survivors, that allows them to look back because the statute of limitation on a lot of us had run out. So if you reignite that, then the DOJ can go after them.
Ironic is that.
Congressman Thomas Massey joins us now, and sir, thanks for coming back on. I want to start with you viewed the unredacted files, as did our guests last night. What did you see?
I saw a lot of redactions, actually.
Just start there.
Well, I can tell you who sent the torture video, because I'm the one that discovered it. They redacted the email. And so what I did is I got that email and I put it back into the DOJ computer and searched the rest of the Epstein files for that email. Was able to match it up with a man named Sultan bin Sulayman or something. And I forced the DOJ to admit to that on Monday. As far as the...
By the way, that guy stepped down today as the head of a $1 billion organization, and hold on. Sultan steps down. I don't even know a sultan could step down, but they do. Yeah, Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayman resigns from DP World. He stepped down today, which, by the way, the name of the company is DP World, which is whatever. Here you go. This would be... Let me bring up the actual article. But anyways, he lost his job over this. The fact that his name was in the Epstein files and came out, he stepped down from his position at DP World Essa Kazim has become the new chairman of the board. DP World is one of Dubai's largest state-linked companies and a major international logistics and port operator. This leadership change affects its global commercial partnerships, including sports sponsorships, like golf. Gee. What kind of ties could there be?
Emails about the 10-year-olds or the 11-year-olds or whatever. I looked into that too. I found out it was a woman at a modeling agency, and they redacted it presumably because it was a woman, and they really redacted most of the women's names.
The belief there on the women is just real quick. They're redacting women under the idea, the premise that they might be victims themselves. But the allegation is now that some of these women were actually helping Epstein to find girls.
Yeah.
To find kids.
And that's probably the case. So, yeah. Mm-hmm. And then I found another document while I was over there where they had, this is an FBI document. It's not even a witness statement. The FBI prepared this document, and they listed Leslie Wexner as a co-conspirator to child sex trafficking, not just sex trafficking, child sex trafficking. And that's a 2019 FBI document.
Yeah.
So I came out publicly and I said, the DOJ needs to unredact this, and they did. Now, Bondi's rebuttal to that is, Les Wexner appears thousands of times in the documents we released. Yes, that's true, Ms. Bondi, but here's the problem. This is the only instance where he appears as a co-conspirator in a child sex trafficking crime. And that's the one instance they didn't release.
I guess the question is...
I asked her today if she can...
Not to cut you off, but my question is, why is the Department of Justice protecting Leslie Wexner? Why would they...
Money?
Be protecting this sole
because they're still friends with Trump and they're in business with him, and Leslie Wexner took some of Elon Musk's debt burden when he bought X, for example, because he didn't buy X. He and a bunch of other people, Leslie Wexner and who else bought into it? Oh yeah, P Diddy. Yeah, that's right. He partly owns X. So if you're still on Shitter and you're paying for it, or you're helping to build traffic there, you're actually helping pay P Diddy's legal bills. Congrats.
Amayed, or whatever his last name is. What would possibly be the motive for that? That they're taking so much political hits here. Again, something they promised they would release. They all talked about how they couldn't wait to dig into all this stuff and release it to the people. It was a populist Trump coming back into the White House. What is happening? Why?
Well, so
that was just bullshit, Joel.
That's why.
Pam Bondi, can you tell me the individual who made that redaction? And that might, Rob, help us to know who, if she's in control, and maybe there's somebody trying to make her look bad, or maybe there's somebody at the DOJ.
Mm-hmm. There is. He's been known to use a Sharpie for all kinds of things.
Okay, who's a carryover, who's trying to protect Les Wexner in these files. I don't know. I don't know their motives. But they could have done the same thing that I did, Rob, before they released these files. They could say, okay, we've got an FBI document here that's labeled child sex trafficking, co-conspirators. Maybe we should look through this and see if these are all legitimate.
That seems to be one of the the easiest ways to search something in the files. Let's just see if that shows up.
Redactions. Why did they have to wait for me to go find them?
Do you believe that there's, I mean, okay, so we have a handful of names now. There was 6 that were redacted. You've managed to get them unredacted. There's millions of pages that have been released. Do you believe that there are far more names than this? Do you believe there's a few more names than this? Do you believe that the 6 on the screen are the extent of what was redacted and are attempted to be protected by some?
Yeah, there's nobody in the other 3 million plus documents.
Somebody inside DOJ?
I believe there are at least a couple dozen names contained in the FBI 302 forms. These are the forms that the FBI fills out when they take statements from witnesses and victims. And so by talking...
By the way, does anybody remember Comer's whole shit about 302s when it came to Hunter Biden? You remember that? These are very serious documents. This is we could just read these things and assume that it's case closed. Remember that? There was a whole big push about 302s when it came to Biden. But now that there's a fucking Excel sheet of 302s about Trump raping girls in New York for years and West Palm Beach and other places, that, well, these are just unverified phone calls. Basically, it's like a tip line. Any asshole can call in.
To the victims' lawyers, I know that they've submitted names to the FBI, and the FBI, they put documents up on the website that if I could have searched them, I could have found those names. But before I was able to go over to the DOJ to search the unredacted documents, they pulled those down, those FD 302 forms that would have had those names.
Gee, when I think they'll go up is after everybody's gone over there and they go, oh, all the computers are broken and because you guys were using them too much. So we need to do some maintenance. And then they'll go back up for a little while. And then when you want to go look at the unredacted ones, suddenly they'll vanish again.
So you believe there's a couple dozen names that are still in these files somewhere? I mean, we're very close to getting this transparency that we so desire. Do you think?
Why do you think that at all?
We get there. Do you think that we find?
Yeah, totally. While Trump's there, you're going to get it all, baby. Yeah, he's going to release everything. Like he can't wait. You know what I mean? He's playing 5D chess, baby. He had him pass this law just to force everybody else's hand because there were people in the deep state who didn't want this stuff to get out, but Trump wants it all out. So he's like, I don't want to do it. Make you so that the law was really clear, and then I'll throw Pam Bondi under the fucking bus. Yeah, that's how it's playing out, of course.
We push through this, and we get all the way through it, and it all comes out.
Well, listen, Rob, when I co-wrote this legislation with Ro Khanna, we knew this was going to be a problem.
Why? Why would it be a problem? I mean, I get the rich and powerful men kind of thing, but it's not all of them. There's a lot of people who aren't in there, or even the ones that are in there tangentially that are rich and powerful. like Richard Branson more than likely didn't get involved in any shit. He was just one of these guys who early glad-handed with him and then went, oh, fuck this, after he found, if he turned out to be a creep. And I'm sure he's not the only one. I'm sure Branson and a bunch of these guys have been in pictures with people. They're like, fuck, I hope that never comes home to roost. That guy ended up getting pushed out of an airplane or was trading guns in fucking Sierra Leone or shit like that, right? I imagine they have those problems quite often with the volume of human beings that they interact with at a certain level. But they don't seem to mind, by and large. I mean, Bill Gates is freaking the fuck out. And never been a fan of his. Yeah, I don't know what I don't understand the shock. I don't understand the surprise in Rob Schmidt's face. I don't the confusion. How could this possibly be?
So we put in the legislation that the DOJ has to release internal communications, emails, notes about decisions on whether to prosecute or not. So they need to give us the rest of what they're compelled by our legislation to give us, which would be the decisions about whether to prosecute Les Wexner or not. And when they do that, then I do think we can get to the bottom of it. Also,
they have to give you their decision about why they marked out certain names and not others. They have to explain their reasoning. All right. And again, this is like they're going to leave it dead in a bunch of these places, no pun intended. Now, I'm going to jump ahead to this one. I have no idea what the fuck is in this, but I kind of am enjoying the whatever. Benny Johnson has all of his thumbnails now are this kind of like they're testing this version, like he's reacting to his own thumbnail. Oh my God, don't even. And this is Rogan in the Files. Joe Rogan finds out he's in the Epstein Files live. Rage is the name of it.
That painting is like, I got you, bitch. That's what that is.
Oh, right.
You got a president who was on the flight logs 26 times with Epstein, and you got that guy in a dress in your house.
What's up, guys? It's Benny. I am here by announcement.
So Benny Johnson is in there the same number of times I am. Sorry, according to the article, Director Patel suggested right-wing podcaster Benny Johnson was blocking the pursuit list because in November, days before Trump was elected, Director Patel again appeared on Benny Johnson's podcast and said Trump is going to maybe release the files.
Saying that this may be my last video ever on this channel because I am in the Epstein files. That's right. Been an entire fraud. It's been a tough ride. And you know what? I'm so sorry that it had to end like this. Look at this. Benny Johnson in the Epstein files. Holy moly. This is actually funny. It's like Alex Jones did the exact same thing because the FBI writes sort of these like little dossiers on us. And here's one dossier that the FBI had. And
really? Yeah, I'm in there once, but because of spam. I'm literally spam. Spam, 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 lovely spam, wonderful spam. Shut up, bloody Vikings. Yeah, I'm in a ad for the Beacon Theater. I'm on the mailing list. Spam, 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 spam. I'll have your spam, dear. I love it.
Included a interview
Spamgate
that we did with Kash Patel back in 2023. And so it mentions my name here a couple times. And what Kash Patel told us on our show,
which turned out to be a lie.
And so, again, as we have stated many times,
what did he tell you on the show? But tell him what you want to mention. What he said on the show. Well, shit. Let's hold on, and we'll go in here, and we'll go to this, and we'll go Epstein Library. Do 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 do. We'll open up this thing. I'm not a robot. And I'm over 18, and I go down here, and then search, and I go to Bend Over Johnson. And here it is, the data set that's in here. We'll close this real quick. And interestingly enough, I got to say, the thing that Bend Over is in is, this over again. Why am I... Close this part. Thank you. And we'll squeeze this up. The part he's in, it has a lot of redacted in it. This is the FBI's daily news briefing. So there's a bunch of it that's blacked out because it's not related, I guess. And then, is it something like that? This would be, we'll scroll past the part where they tell Benny's backstory and where he went to school and what his name used to be before he was brought to the United States under false pretenses. Oh, it's after that. Okay, sorry. And then we'll go back to it. Let's see. Director Bongolio also proliferated the conspiracy theory that Epstein is an intelligence asset for people in the Middle East. During a 2023 appearance on Tim Pool's Timcast RL, Patel suggested to right-wing producer Benny Johnson in December 2020 that Congress was blocking the purported list because of who's on that list, telling Johnson, you don't think Bill Gates is lobbying Congress night and day to prevent the disclosure of the list? That's what Patel said. While deriding House Republicans for allegedly failing to release the list, put on your big boy pants and let us know who the pedophiles are. In November, days before Trump was elected, Director Patel again appeared on the Benny Johnson podcast saying Trump is going to maybe release the Epstein files list. Boy, that's a big drop-off. The article highlighted that the president of the conservative Judicial Watch movement, Tom Fitton, told Steve Bannon on Monday, I don't even think the Biden administration would have written anything like this. I just don't think they could have and get away with it. I wonder what's going on with the leadership of the Justice Department, the FBI. I don't know what they're related to in that one, about the Epstein list. Yep. So he went on Benny Johnson. So Benny Johnson shows up in the Epstein files largely as a propaganda network for hiding the Epstein files. Again, I'm just spam.
And this also includes Tucker Carlson and Alex Jones. And
yes, also people who are working, night and day to hide the Epstein files through obfuscation and pretending that Trump isn't in them and trying to distract from the purpose of them.
And many other creators, like for instance, Laura Loomer is up here at the very top. Elon Musk, Laura Loomer, blah, blah, blah. Having your name existing in these files is not implicit guilt. You have to look at the context, and we've been doing.
Right. They're tracking the fact that you had the people who are hiding the documents on your show to help them, I guess, prepare the waters for propaganda or lies later. Whereas I showed up in a email mailing list as spam.
This with President Trump. We've been doing this with Elon Musk. The Democrats are trying to say that because your name appears in these.
Sorry, Musk is kissing his ass and trying to go to the island. That's not the same as showing up in a mailing list.
Files that you are somehow complicit in some type of grand conspiracy evil.
That's legally true. So why is Pam Bondi hiding the names of the men and outing the victims? And the women, by the way, the female perpetrators as well. Why is she helping his female co-conspirators? And releasing the female victims' names.
And that, of course, is untrue. But nonetheless, it was pretty funny to see my name pop up here. Joe Rogan had the exact same experience. Joe Rogan's name appears in the files. Here we go. Director Patel suggested to right-wing podcaster Benny Johnson, this is what the FBI thinks of me, in December 2023 that Congress was blocking the purported list because of who's on the list, telling Johnson, you don't think Bill Gates is lobbying Congress night and day for the disclosure of the list while defending.
Also, you're not a right-wing podcaster? Sorry, did they use that I'm glad to find this out. That Benny Johnson thinks that calling someone a right-wing podcaster is a pejorative because he knows it's a shitty job held by shitty people. And it's nice that he's at least aware of that, even if he does that for a living.
House Republicans for allegedly failing to release the list. Put on your big boy pants and let us know who the pedophiles are.
And then he got in and went, there aren't any, sorry. And he killed himself. And there's nothing to see here. And please move along. Also, does anyone have a medium ladies FBI jacket with some patches on it? I've got to show up and lick rocks at the crime scene of Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, he did say that. In November, days before Trump was elected, Director Patel again appeared on Benny Johnson's podcast saying that Trump was going to maybe release the Epstein list.
Yeah, he didn't say would. I mean, he said maybe. Maybe, it's not definitely.
Mm-hmm. Got it. All right. So there it is. Cooked. Cooked. Career over. No, it's like these are the kind of these are the kind of files that get released, right? This was a what was this? This was a
No, these are not the kind of files that get released. These are the kind of files that are included in an entire drop of stuff where people are mentioned around the Epstein list that are in the government records of it. Meaning that this was something the FBI put out, so it's included in there as part of the log. That's not the same thing. This email was not found in Jeffrey Epstein's fucking let's see who's. Yeah, we don't even know who was getting it and who was returning it. Although we do know that Epstein had subscribed to that FBI daily news briefing. Which, by the way, let me see something real quick. Let's see. Major investigation ends together. New description of the suspect. Routine FBI browser. How to submit information on this. Let's see. How do I get the email of this every day? Let's see. Sign up for FBI email dates. Okay, so breakdown. Okay, 3 email subscriptions. You can do breaking news and press releases, field office updates, wanted missing person alerts. You go to this one right here, and you can subscribe. Let's go right to here. So this is so somebody in Epstein's orbit or somebody in this thing went to this page and hit subscribe now, and you can follow their whole thing. Let's see. I'm going to enter that and go. Where should I put this? What you gotta do to? What is it? Oh, I've got to add these FBI's top stories to avoid national press releases. Additional subscriptions. Podcast shows produced by the FBI, fabulous. Crime statistics, 1 every 2 or 3 months. Law enforcement bulletin, FBI in the news, reports and publications, outreach, executive speeches. What a waste of time. Congressional testimony, 2 per month. Ever basically in the industry alerts and public service announcements. Okay, I'm going to sign up for that. Weekly updates. That's good. Just do it that way. And go, whatever you receive. I'm not a robot. Okay, there you go. And subscribe. Okay. Ta-da! Okay, I subscribe to it. Obviously using a junk email that I have, but now I get it too. So whoever was getting this, I will get the same thing that they were getting to see what they were getting and why they might be wanting it. Especially to check, am I in it today? Did I make the top 10, Ma?
FBI daily news briefing. Right-wing podcaster. Okay. Joe Rogan figured out.
You are a right-wing podcaster. You are.
This the hard way. That he's also in the Epstein files because one of his guests was trying to get him to meet Epstein. Look at this. Joe Rogan, enraged that he's in the Epstein files, blasts former podcast guest who tried to include him with Jeffrey Epstein, but
tried introducing him. Reading is fun and dumb and mental.
Joe Rogan is included. Bitch, are you high is what Joe Rogan says.
Who was high at the time, ironically.
Here are the emails. What it is it's Lawrence Krauss, who is trying to...
Oh, by the way, Rogan has a shit ton of people that were guests on his show. He still has people on his show that were close to Epstein. He has no problem. This would be where I push it over the director, because I think this is an article from Jeffrey Epstein. He's wearing a skirt and bra. I think you have to look at Lawrence Krauss's stuff. Is that what it is? Hold on. Let's see if maybe they'll show the page number oh wait, sorry. EFTA 2590. Shit, that's very. Yeah, here you go. Sorry. Just type this shit in. EFT A 02598696 598696. Yeah, this is it. Damn, I'm good. I'm going to bring this down here. This is the actual page, like he's showing it on there. From Lawrence Krauss. Good, I would have worried otherwise. Have you ever been devastated by anything as far as I know? So you didn't want this to be first. Houses, of course. Oh, we should go back to the bottom of this. I think it's really how you read the beginning of this. Arnold Falcoff, Lawrence Krauss, subject Irma. So nice to learn from Lawrence. Much appreciate your concerns. And then PS had meetings on the 10th anniversary day. It's gonna be amazing for my friend Arnaldo Alcoff, my diving instructor and friend. Since he is the reason, I felt appropriate to pass on. Is there anything you need, Ari, underwater at your island? I'm sure he could use the work. If he knows, if he Nats Rogan can have dinner with Woody on Friday. So he wants him to meet Woody Allen in L.A., New York. Hi, see, origins this School of Earth Sciences. I contacted him. He contacted me back, asked me some questions about you. I told him good things, still haven't heard back. How are all your houses in Santa Fe at SFI? I thought of you and wondered if you were in New Mexico. SFI is still kind of off the real axis, but a pretty place. You are the houses. Good, I would have been worried otherwise. Sorry about Rogan so far. He seems more timid than I would have thought, is the response. I don't know where the bitch or you high part comes in yet.
Connect Joe Rogan and Jeffrey Epstein for a dinner, right? He was a guest on Joe Rogan's podcast in 2017, I think, and they were trying.
No, he was a regular guest. He's been on a half a dozen times at least.
And they were trying to get together he was trying to hook up Joe Rogan with him. This is Joe Rogan. There you go. And you can see Joe Rogan sort of mentioned here in these emails. And all it is just like the Elon Musk emails where there's zero evidence. The left is coming after Elon Musk for this. There's zero evidence that Elon Musk was ever in the same room as Jeffrey Epstein, ever tried.
No, there isn't. There's good to see you emails. And also the idea that they were never in the same room together. You're just going to drop everything as a billionaire and go to an island of somebody you don't even know, knowing full well it's going to be a wild party, or what's the wildest party? Get the fuck out of here.
Traveled anywhere with Jeffrey Epstein. There's no actual evidence of anything, right?
Well, that's why they eliminated millions of other documents. That's why stuff is redacted. So you can say that, Benny. Do you understand that? There was no evidence a month ago that Howard Lutnick wasn't telling the truth either.
No hot tub photos or no creepy Bill Gates emails like we have. There's nothing. There's just scheduling conflict, which is what happened with.
Yeah, not for a lack of trying.
Elon Musk, and it's the same thing that's happening here. Joe Rogan sounding off on it right
here. For not going, because Jeffrey Epstein was trying to meet with me.
Oh, I did see that.
Yeah, and I was like, what?
I'm like, no thanks.
I was like, what?
Yeah.
Aren't you glad?
Yeah, but I would have never went anyway. It's like...
Yeah, notice that. Yeah, her husband went. RFK Jr. was like, yeah, no, I hung out with him. I hung out with Weinstein. Fucking O.J. Simpson was at my house. Bill Cosby. I love those kind of guys.
It's not even a possibility that I would ever went. But especially after I Googled him. I was like, what the are you talking about? This was 2017. One of my guests was trying to get me to meet him. I was like, bitch, are you high? What the are you talking about?
For what reason would you? What would be...
If I was a guy who was sucking up to the rich and powerful. If I was really interested in hanging out with rich and powerful people.
He is rich and powerful. What the fuck are you talking about? By that time, you are rich and powerful.
Nice.
It's crazy. That's so crazy. But yeah.
It is so crazy. You know what's even crazier? My husband.
Some people
get intoxicated by being in a circle of rich and powerful people.
No. 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 I get okay. I call bullshit. There's one thing about being like surrounded by rich and powerful people, but if you're like, P.S. he's a pedophile. P.S. everybody fucking knows it. P.S. they call his plane the Lolita Express. P.S. he's got a private island that they, like that people joke is a rape island. Like, no, you wouldn't go, but he's rich. I mean, look how shiny the furniture is. Like, get the fuck out of here. I understand when you're like, if you went to Bezos's house and you're like, he's kind of shit to his employees and he's fucking with the Washington Post, but I mean, have you seen the water slide at this place? Like, I get that almost. But the minute they were like, also, he ate a kid, you'd be like, check, please. Like, there is a drop off in that intoxicating thing. Like, man, the fucking parties this guy gets invited to, we had to eat a baby, but like, get the fuck out of here.
Even if they're not, like, they don't even have any ambitions of being one of those people. They just want to be around them. They want to be around.
No, nobody's like, ugh, I hate the rich and powerful. But, when you get around them, it's just like, whatever. Sign me up. I'll take a wing.
Around Nobel Prize winners. And because this guy what he was doing was very clever in that he was getting all of these very powerful and very respected people together.
Yeah.
And you would figure like, oh, it's
if that
safe.
guy's there, if that lady's
Clinton's
there.
here. This is fine.
Right.
Clinton's here. How could this be bad?
Yeah.
Sure, look, Steven Pinker. How could this be bad?
Yeah.
He's a genius. Like,
he's a regular guest on Joe Rogan's show.
And so you would go, I would imagine, you would go to these, because there's people that went to these, like he had parties in New York, like he brought in celebrities and comedians. Didn't Louis Black get invited to one of them?
Yes, and so did Bobby Slayton and a couple other people. Yeah.
I think he's talked about it. I know Chelsea Handler went to one of them. It's like he would bring all these people in, and he'd like to be around famous people and entertainers and a lot of intellectuals and professors. And Noam Chomsky was famously deeply involved. So it's like you would go, I guess, to these places, and that was how he would convince everybody that everything is going to be fine. Like, have you ever been invited to a party and someone will tell you, hey, you should go to this party, Brad Pitt's going to be there? Like, they'll tell you that to try to get you to go. They'll tell you about the famous people that are going to be there.
Yeah, it's not going to either, Benny.
Yeah, like,
although you did perk up when the idea of going to a party where he's going to be there. It would be very exciting.
I don't know. I should go.
Oh, I didn't know.
Right.
I didn't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
That makes actually a ton of sense. The way that it was explained to me by Mike Benz, who's also just on Joe Rogan's show doing a breakdown of this, is that Jeffrey Epstein was facilitating partnerships between the public and private sector. It's technically a space that is illegal, but nonetheless, if you have powerful enough friends, then you can.
What do you mean? Government contracts with private companies is illegal? What are you talking about?
Get a bunch of people a bunch of money. You can make money while you're doing it. You're not allowed to trade on insider trading. It's what they put Martha Stewart in jail for.
No, it isn't. That's influence peddling, and there isn't actually a crime there unless you are the person selling the access. If you're just introducing people and other people are doing business with you because the other people that's not illegal. Fuck you talking about? It's the kid fucking, you weirdo.
But this is what Jeffrey Epstein did. He was doing insider trading between, multinational corporations, the government, the frickin' Treasury Secretary. And so there's so much of a fortune to be made there. And then also when you have billionaires like Bill Gates can't just go to a bar in Boston and pick up a chick. You just can't do that. Not like you could anyway, but if you're a billionaire, you're not allowed to do these kind of things. People know you, they know your face. And so the illicit sex, the trafficking, this was for his clientele. This was like a thing that his clientele wanted. And
yeah, have you ever seen the women that Trump hung around with or bragged about hanging around with, and the party that he went to with Jeffrey Epstein? Maybe Trump and he built this business model together. You ever think of that?
He figured out that it's something that was a major deal, grease for a deal, right? To get deals done between powerful people. Obviously, if you want to control them and never get prosecuted for this, then this is how you'd have compromise on people. So that.
Yeah, or guarantee that if you do go to jail, the person who's in charge of you while you're in jail will help you escape.
Of course, also works as a self-licking ice cream cone. But the real operation was Jeffrey Epstein doing insider trading. It's funny how you have RFK's wife on there. RFK just told me this week that this is exactly what Epstein told him. That was his business, was effectively insider trading. Shout out to Joe Rogan for being too timid to accept an invitation.
Sorry, RFK Jr. said that Epstein told you himself that he was engaged in criminal activity? And now he's in the Trump administration? Doing a job he's not qualified for? I mean, I guess he's perfectly qualified if the job is actually raising the number of measles cases in the United States.
With Epstein. Look at this. Sorry about Rogan so far. He seems too timid than I would have thought. We'll reach back out to Rogan.
I think more timid?
If he wants Rogan, he can have dinner with Woody Allen on Friday. Okay. Joe Rogan said no. Good for you, Joe Rogan. Right? This is Lawrence Krauss. Lawrence Krauss appeared on Joe Rogan Experience in 2017. You can see the episode right here. This is the guest. This is him trying to set him up with Rogan. It's Lawrence Krauss. He's still, he's here. He's a theoretical physicist, right? President of the Origins Project, board of FSU Canada. Oh, Canadian. That's your problem. Okay.
Sorry, you assume so much with certainty and direct anger at people you do not know and things for which you have no knowledge. I'm not sure what peace you get from writing strangers like me, but if it assuages your anger, okay. Thank you for having recommended my books.
Here's
somebody slamming him.
Lawrence Krauss screaming into the abyss about being exposed in the Epstein list. You can assume so much without certainty, a direct anger at people you don't know, for which you have no knowledge. I'm not sure the pace that we're writing strangers.
I'm not sure what peace you get from writing strangers. Sorry, were you hit with the same bat that Bongholio was hit with?
Blah, blah, blah. Thank you for having recommended my books. Okay. Seems like he's like crashing out over all this. Okay. You deserve.
Yeah, it's crashing out. That's why they're going to the Greek islands for a science sail away. Greek islands.
And now he's moving to Greece?
No, he's not. They're doing a cruise. It's a nerd cruise, you fucking weirdo.
Oh, don't look too much into Greece. Oh no. Tom Hanks and everything like that, right? So now you're moving to Greece? Uh-oh.
No, we'll be sailing to the Greek islands. Join us for Origins Travel Adventure, a sailing expedition for 48 people through the Greek archipelago with a Cyprus add-on. They're going by and seeing Trump's last Treasury Secretary, who was the head of the Bank of Cyprus, which, isn't Epstein adjacent either.
All right. Well, that makes sense.
It was a vampire bat.
That tracks.
So what you're saying is he's this stupid from blood loss. Can I also point out, maybe this, I don't know why he thinks this is a look. We see this a bunch on the right. Why is this haircut coming and like? Grab this. Quit it. There we go. You just. I mean, it's a look. Don't get me wrong, but is that he just did he go to Supercuts and say, "Give me the Judge Doom"? I don't understand. I've seen dreadlock before, but shitlocks? Yeah, there you go. Guess what? Welcome. Have a look at your future, Benny. Okay, so this is him, I guess, protecting Joe Rogan from this thing. The five, I guess, I don't know if they were responding to Pam Bondi, but we're going to check in with them. We haven't checked in with them in a while.
Not much policy, but a whole lot of chaos on Capitol Hill yesterday. Attorney General Pam Bondi sparring with some very, very angry Democrats during.
Why would they be angry when there's just rich pedophiles walking around and they're not getting, they're not being investigated at all? Why would anybody be mad about that? I don't get it.
The House Judiciary hearing. It went like this.
Excuse me, I'm going to answer the question.
Answer my question.
No, I'm going to answer the question the way I want to answer the question.
No, I'm talking.
No.
I'm
if they're
talking.
not privileged,
Quiet.
don't.
You can let her filibuster all day long, but not on our watch.
Reclaim
Not on our time. No way.
Reclaim
And I told you about that, Attorney General, before you started.
You don't tell me.
Yeah, oh, I
anything,
did tell you because we saw what you did in the Senate.
Lawyer.
Shame on you if you had any decency.
Well, by the way, I think when they covered this, she doesn't end up saying anything. She just Lou was so effective, she just kind of ate it.
You would resign right after this hearing concludes.
The Dow
She just kind of ugh.
has shattered 50,000 for the first time. This is crazy. They said it couldn't be done in 4 years.
One of the worst attorney generals in history.
Crockett. All right, things might have been loud, but that didn't stop Congressman Jerry Nadler from getting a little shut-eye. Yep, video catching one of his aides nudging him to wake up. He had things to do. Wake up, Brian.
I'm up. Everything is devolving. The day before, you had Todd Lyons and Rodney Scott. They just were being screamed at the entire time.
Aw, are they okay? Have you talked to them?
I just like to ask everybody in the room, what is your job? I mean, is your job
oversight of the DOJ in this particular panel, that the money of the taxpayer is being spent properly and that the DOJ is following the law? It is literally mandated by the Constitution.
To solicit answers? Is your job to make progress? Are you looking to learn something? Or are you just looking to raise money? Because, okay, we're playing the clips because it's so out of control and embarrassing. And the thing is,
it didn't have to be, though. She could have just answered the questions. The questions weren't out that far out of line. They weren't there were a couple that were definitely digs, but largely because of how she'd been the rest of the time and how she was in the Senate and how she's doing her fucking job. But there were a bunch of them that were, she started reacting to very normal questions this way.
For the most part, you had Todd Lyons and Rodney Scott kind of sit back and take a lot of incoming that was totally unworthy because a lot of that wasn't their policies at all. They were being yelled at for ICE and they were mischaracterizing what ICE was doing for another time. But here in Pam Bondi, they're talking about the Epstein files. Let's be honest, the Epstein files have totally blown up in the Democrats' face. Two insincere lawmakers, Ro Khanna and Tom Massey, who...
Insincere, right, who got a discharge petition passed through, and the bill that they wrote is the most unanimous bill in this entire, in the last decade. It did better than the Infrastructure Act.
Sat on it for 4 years, had no interest when Joe Biden was president.
Well, they did, actually. Congress pushed on this quite a bit, especially because it was related to Donald Trump and he had skated it.
Or Donald Trump was president the first time.
Yeah, he died in prison or escaped during that time because he only arrested him, and they pushed for this because Congress and everybody was after this, and he had claimed it as an issue. Also, he hired Alex Acosta, the guy that gave the co-conspirators a non-prosecution protection order. So yeah, people push back. Alex Acosta lost his fucking job over it.
Now all of a sudden have to do it for the survivors. No one's talking about the survivors now. They're trying to see if they can get Donald Trump. And the only thing that came out of the last million pages was people trying to plot and plan against Donald Trump with Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump talking.
Do you think that might be about the selective release of the pages, since there's millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of pages left over, asshole?
To the sheriff, thanking them for going after Epstein, putting him away, charging him, and said horrible things about Maxwell. So that's why people are up in arms, because every day someone like Peter Attia or the founder of LinkedIn or somebody else is caught over there saying something.
Sorry, Peter Attia? The dude that Barry Weiss hired over at CBS to Mahafy their health coverage?
Something that they said didn't happen. It turns up it's in the Epstein files. So the whole thing is blown up in the Democrats' face. And
sorry, Howard who?
They want Pam Bondi. Pam Bondi's not going anywhere. You can yell at her all you want.
I think the yelling, to me, Kennedy, I always find it so unpersuasive for everybody.
Yeah, so Scott Bessent went before Congress and was very calm, was very measured, and he has become...
Yeah, but his job wasn't to release the Epstein files and therefore was covering them. He was there to talk about economics. Now, the policies of the Trump administration in terms of economics suck, but they don't suck as much as hiding and protecting the names of rich and powerful pedophiles.
The king of laconic sick burns. Like, he can absolutely destroy you, and it won't raise his heart rate or his blood pressure. And
Yeah, that's the power of not really giving a shit.
that is a lesson that Pam Bondi needs to internalize, because it's different. She comes off like a shrieking Karen. You know, it's like, I want this.
No, she doesn't. She is a shrieking Karen. She doesn't come off that way. This is who she is. This is the real Pam Bondi. Please stand up. Please stand up.
Country to do well. I want to be convinced that the president, I don't care what administration it is, that we're on the right track, and the people who are in charge of every aspect of the federal government, they have their position locked up, and they're doing the very best they can with an incredibly talented team.
That's adorable. Now do Kash Patel.
When she's this emotional, it looks like she's lost a little bit of the edge, and she seems very, very unpersuasive. It feels like the job is consuming her. She needs to tone it down a little bit, and you know, she apparently had a burn.
Sorry, what do you think the job is? I think is the key.
Of insults that she was doling out to everyone, and when she said to Jamie Raskin, who is a total hack, when she said, like, you're not even a lawyer, he should have said, you're not even a real blonde. That would have been funny, but he doesn't have the wherewithal. He shouldn't be in Congress.
That's why he's never in Gutfeld.
Scott Bessent might have been able to deliver that line. The other thing is, Jesse, that we noticed once again at these hearings, that
he has.
When you take the shot of the members of Congress that could have been there, a lot of the seats are vacant. The ones who are there are the ones who are trying to raise a little bit of money.
No, everybody rotates through. They had votes that day. Everybody, they came in for their 5 minutes. It went on for a long time. So they come in. They don't have to be there for everybody else's 5 minutes. They're there because they have a specific element for their, like, some were there all day because they didn't have other stuff to do, or they were in charge. Like, the party assigns a few people on the committee as, like, regulars for that particular one in case there's something they need to be kept in the loop about. Their staff will reach out to somebody. Hey, by the way, I know you were going to talk about this when you came in later. We addressed it. She said this. You might want to adjust what you're saying or adjust your question. Like, they do shit like that, you know, like an organization would.
For their basis. So Eric Swalwell was there, Jasmine Crockett was there, and they're in primaries.
Sure. The situation is like this, Dana Perino. Trump kicked Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago, then called the cops on him.
He dry snitched, and then he called Epstein and told him they were coming. And then still invited him to New Year's at the White House.
Then arrested him, arrested Maxwell, and they're like, release the files. He's like, you sure you want me to? You really sure you want me to? Fine, have at it. And they're still yelling at his people.
No, he didn't say fine, have at it. We don't have them all. Don't even go there. Don't pretend that he was like he was being coy. His DOJ wrote a memo in July going, nothing to see here, no other co-conspirators, it's over, and Epstein killed himself. Shut the fuck up. And he insulted his own supporters.
People. Right. It's politics. She's got to go up there. She takes her lumps. They scream. I used to think we should treat men and women differently. I don't believe we should anymore. You cannot yell at a woman the same way you yell at a man. It makes you look worse.
Wow. Look, we had to go through all this for a growth moment for Jesse Waters.
Everybody agrees with
I have to change my whole strategy with Jessica.
No, please keep doing that. We love that. You get an exception. But if you read the Epstein files and the journals...
I don't think she's there, is she? Jessica? I don't think she's present, which is why he feels comfortable saying that.
Done a great job at this. Epstein got his money from 2 Jewish billionaires.
Oof. He also had the same banker that Trump did.
Lex Wessner and Leon Black, and a little bit of money from the Jewish banking dynasty, the
Whoa. So it's a Jew thing.
Rothschilds in Europe. And it looks like he's mostly just a fixer, a guy who advises. He helps people with their problems. Sometimes those problems are...
Oh, like Michael Cohen.
You need a girl, and
or some penicillin,
or some. If you need it, he's got it.
He's a sex rabbi.
He should perform at the halftime show next year.
Yes.
Well, that won't be happening.
Yep.
Something happened at a jail not too far
hanging from a noose.
Greg, what do you think?
Yikes.
Well,
it killed me just when he's hanging from a noose.
Okay, since when did these drama queens ever care actually about the Epstein case? When Biden was in charge, there's no moral imperative behind this righteousness It's only political, obviously, theater. I want to paraphrase the great Walter Kern, who said,
Also, there's an issue with the like Congress specifically going after people who aren't in office, who are participants, and who are civilians, because that would be something for law enforcement. Congress isn't supposed to necessarily get involved in that. They can't direct the DOJ, neither should the administration. It should follow the law without fear or favor. So Democrats are kind of boxed in by their following of that policy. Republicans are the ones that are comfortable using lawfare and always have been. So there is a sticky part where, unless it's a federal case and you can tell that somebody is specifically interfering with it as opposed to dragging their feet, there's not a ton you can do. Now we're in a situation where you actually have someone pushing back against it. There's a reason why there's so much sort of federal interest in this, is because the DOJ itself is acting as a stalling point for these cases.
thinking that politicians control the narrative is like believing actors wrote the movie.
Sometimes, I mean, you mean like Sling Blade? You mean like A Mighty Wind? You mean like fucking Ghostbusters? Sometimes they do, dickhead.
So this is just some kind of script. This is scripted. There's a director. Everybody's playing their thing. I don't really get that.
Well, it wouldn't matter though. It's not engaging if there's not an element of truth or excitement to it. Even if they're faking it, it won't have an impact on the viewer unless there's buy-in from the viewer, and that's the problem that you have, is that the audience is engaged. The audience is indeed, THX 1130, listening.
Beat up about this for a couple of reasons. One, I see these hearings as the same old crud. Maybe after the Kavanaugh hearing, that kind of like fixed it for me. It was just a turning point. So I don't really have any.
Also, Epstein's innocent, and he's being attacked by these bitches. So the women that are standing up who are victims of Epstein are the same as the people that accused Brett Kavanaugh. And Brett Kavanaugh and Jeffrey Epstein are equal victims of the same scam. This is the Greg Gutfeld position on Jeffrey Epstein, that he is an innocent victim of runaway Me Too.
Investment in this. I imagine that for people who don't follow politics, this is like watching a hockey fight. It's just like something that's like, ooh, what's going on over there? Also, and I hate to say it, a lot of these people are odd.
Also, okay. Most people don't see a random hockey fight unless they're watching hockey, but also they're paying attention to this. She could have kept the attention down and kept the drama away by being like boring and responsive, just like Bessent did. I think that's what Kennedy's comment was. So it's her fault.
Positioning for my seat. Oh. And your seat too. Not yours, Dana. You're much too nice. But
hold on. What was that?
Imagine that. For people who don't follow politics, this is like watching a hockey fight. It's just like something that's like, ooh, what's going on over there? Also, and I hate.
Yeah, but then it makes them pay attention. And then, they're either going to be interested in hockey or they're not after that. And it's like, imagine all the hockey fans who the first time they saw it, they saw either a hockey fight video and then they started watching hockey for the fights and then they got into the game, or people who watched like Slapshot and didn't really watch hockey and really like the Hanson brothers and then just watched hockey and then got into it that way. That's what this is like. This draws attention to it, which is exactly why she should calm the fuck down, but she can't because she's emotionally and mentally incapable of doing it, because she has been sent to do an awful job and she has no other choice. And she's either a willing participant in evil or she is like painfully aware she's covering up for evil. So, boom.
To say it. A lot of these people are auditioning for my seat. Oh. And your seat, too. Not yours, Dana. You're much...
Well, their jokes are better.
Too nice. But it's like, a lot of these people, like, they know that they're being filmed, and they're, like, filmed. What year is this?
Yeah.
Back in the day, we had big cameras.
And kinescopes.
Yeah, kinescopes. But it's like, so I think, a lot of that kind of gets them, like, how did I do? How did I, like, everybody's like...
They know immediately because it gets small dollar donations, and that's what this is.
Yeah, but I do...
This is so what it is about. You're absolutely right. This isn't really about kids. Nobody cares about kids. I don't care about kids. You don't care about kids. Nobody cares about victims and like pedophiles running around right now free because they had a non-prosecution agreement from Donald Trump's labor secretary in his first term, who got his job from his AG's father at an all-girls school when he wasn't qualified. Nobody cares about that. Right, Dana Perino? Nobody cares.
Like, I also understand that these witnesses are finally responding with the respect these imposters deserve. It's like, I keep thinking.
Sorry, are the victims behind her imposters? Because she wouldn't even look them in the face, so they deserve a cold shoulder. The victims of Jeffrey Epstein deserve the head of the DOJ not even paying them any respect.
Like, what would I do if I was there? I could not take any of those bozos seriously.
That's true, but you're a Karen too.
And all they're doing is ideological target practice. So I'm sitting there and I'm supposed to.
What's the ideology, though? So this is a war between anti-pedophile Democrats and a pro-pedophile AG. That's the ideological part? Like, this should be bipartisan. The bill was.
Go, yes, sir, no, sir. No, I'm just going to go, you're not real. I'm looking at Raskin. You're not real.
Yeah, but he got his position through votes. He was elected. And you in this situation would be an appointee by the president who, has the right to appoint you, but you didn't win at your seat. You were appointed to that seat as a political appointee of the president and should be taken as such. They were hired directly by the people to represent their district. And so what they're doing is either the people of the district will be against it or in favor of it. And that will be solved through an election. You as an appointee have a job to do under the oversight of the people who were hired by the people for their job directly. So they would get to tell you, reclaiming my time, the witness will shut the fuck up.
You're a bot. You're no better than a bot. You're programmed by somebody else. I don't have to respect you.
Yeah, but that, in this case, that's what everybody recognizes Pam Bondi is. She's a bot for Donald Trump and Todd Blanche.
Kind of what Bessent's doing. Yeah. He's like sitting there going, right. Bessent's face tells you that I'm so much better than you people.
Yeah, that's because he works for the most anti-gay party in the world, and he's managed to get his position even though he's married and gay and has children. And he used to work for George Soros, and they still had to hire him. There's a reason why his ego is so big, is because you guys were that desperate. You needed him.
Or it's not funny.
He's better. He's richer.
Yeah.
But if you don't interrupt,
he gets all the chicks.
Answer. I mean, he can make the claim about the Dow at 50K.
Yes.
Right. The other thing, though, especially at the.
Yeah, but it went up entirely during Biden multiple times, and you guys pretended it was just some other reason.
ICE hearing from the other day, it's that all of those guys like Todd Lyons, they work 18 hours a day minimum, and they're
no, they don't.
Looking at these guys who are just basically trying to yell at them so that they can get out of town and go raise more money.
But they leave no time to answer. So if you don't interrupt and say something,
so
you don't.
Annoying.
It looks like you agree.
To be honest, I feel like it's a broken system, like the primary debates with 10 people. I think it's a broken system and it needs to be changed.
Click here.
Yeah, that's not a system. That's how the parties run things. That's up to them and their voters. You don't get a say in that because you can either make the decisions around those, but if you're waiting till the debate to decide, you're picking the wrong person. If you're running on like personality and bullishness, most of the time you will pick the wrong candidate. But then that's how Republicans have picked most of their people. That's why she thinks it, that by the way, that process is why we have Trump. So maybe she's shitting on him. You never think about that, huh? All right, we're going to raid. Let's see. Is Tara Devlin up in a little bit? Is she up in a half hour? Is she up yet? Because I think she has Malcolm Nance on, right? So we're gonna raid her on YouTube when we're done. Hey, I'm just checking in with the people in the know. And then 19 minutes. Okay, so I got some time. All right. If that's all right, if you guys don't mind hanging. I mean, I got some stuff. Boy, I have some stuff. Okay. Needless to say, there has been a lot of Candace Owens noise and the like, which is, I gotta say, in many ways, the gift that keeps on giving, and is the biggest fear point that Republicans have in the upcoming election. Let me see if I could show you this. Let's see, where is it? Yeah, here you go. Hold on one second. It's, what's his name? Yes, that, this is, here you go. This is the current state
Store
of
for
the
me.
whatever. Hold on, let me open this up here. Yes. Oh shit! I can't open. Quit it.
But
No.
in 20.
Sneak back down. That's too much. Okay, here we go. I just have to. I'll put it like this. There you go. Here you go. This is the current state of where what Republicans are staring down the barrel of. Hold on. That isn't even the newest one. Hold on one second. Let's see if I can find this guy. Where is it? Oh, I went directly to that post. Hold on one second. Because he said this a couple of times. So one of the problems that Republicans have, of course, is the Nick Fuentes crowd, the Groypers, this crowd here. And the reality that they're facing, that there are a bunch of voters that he basically is in charge of that are not going to vote for Donald Trump because the Epstein files and not enough deportations. Those are the two things. Now, what you're going to see is this giant facility they're going to try and open during the summer where they'll allegedly be able to put 100,000 illegals and process them all at once. Well, we have a series of those kind of places down near the border because of the constant turnover. And so you could, if you shut down the border, you could bring people from inside the country down to those places. But they don't want to because they want to make a big show of it. So they're buying places closer to the actual cities, which makes no sense whatsoever, especially if it's a temporary problem you can solve. So they're going to launch this big, Titanic level facility that they're going to pat themselves on the back for building, spending taxpayer dollars to build a giant warehouse for people. And you'll never be able to look inside it to see who's actually there. And I'm sure they will try and post processing pictures or, that'll more than likely be AI of rows and rows and rows of people, sitting on cots being, waiting to be catapulted out of the country. But in reality, they just don't have the numbers. And so they're never going to be able to satisfy the lust for deportations that his crowd represents. The other thing is that Donald Trump can afford to lose those people in his own mind because it's just his finances at this point. He's never going to go to jail over this shit. He's convinced himself, and he's got too many powerful friends to let that shit out himself and stuff about him and his buddies. So if he did, it would ruin everything. So he's just going to eat it. It doesn't matter if these guys hate him. Fuck him. He's going to laugh all the way to the bank. That's where Trump thinks he is. So, but this is what they're afraid of.
This is where real politics begins. And this is the message for 2026. This is so important. We have to take a look, just like the Israel lobby is. And in 2026, we need to be keeping a list of names. And by we, I mean America first. Any politician that has disavowed Tucker Carlson, we have to get the word out. Don't vote for them.
That's the standard. How dare you speak ill of Tucker Carlson? Okay, so at this point, I guess we're going to start another thing where we're having to track Russian money again. But I think he actually believes this. I think he believes, the enemy of my enemy is my frenemy. So if Tucker Carlson hates Israel as much as I do, so he buys property in Qatar and starts taking gifts from the Emiratis, that makes him anti-Jew enough to be okay.
Vote for their primary candidate or their primary opponent. And if they win their primary, don't vote for them in the general.
By the way, this is basically TYT for red hats. Same message. Same message.
That has to be the message. This is the only way to hold their feet to the fire. This is the only way to make it work. This is what I said in 2021, in 22, and 24.
Yeah, but you were still stupid enough to back Donald Trump. So why would anyone take any of your other judgments seriously?
We have to use our vote in the affirmative and in the negative. We need to create the list. If you're with Tucker, you have our vote. If you disavow Tucker, you don't. If you cannot take a stand for America first, then you have no...
What if they just disagree on what America first means, I think?
Business being an elected official in the American government. That is the message.
Loud and clear. I agree. you should start with, I guess, fuck Ted Cruz. You should get him out of his Senate seat immediately. I don't even know why you let that guy keep. I mean, you should be on his ass 24/7. I'm not, obviously I'm not in the business of giving you targets, but, it just seems logical considering what you're saying, unless you're, scared or something. I don't know.
In 2026, in the midterms, we are showing up, and the Groypers are showing up with us. If you disavow Tucker, you will not get the votes.
Trump disavowed Tucker.
If you disavow the Israel lobby like Thomas Massey, we will show up for you. And by...
Ooh. So Thomas Massey, yes. Trump, I guess Trump is for the Israel lobby by default. I don't think he's pro-Israel lobby or whatever. I think he's just Netanyahu's his buddy, and it makes him look macho to bomb Iran and other places. So, maybe that's the way. Unless you're not for the bombing of Iran. Or maybe you aren't because of Israel. Maybe it helps Israel too much, so even if you like it, you'd be against it.
I don't just mean the Groypers. I mean everybody that is America first. Ian Carroll and Anna Kasparian and Tucker and...
Wow. Think about that crowd for a second. Did you hear that? Anna Kasparian is America first, according to Nick Fuentes. Mm-hmm. Not Americans first, which we've known about her for a long time, so that makes sense.
All of them. If you're America first, we will help you. If you are America last, we will punish you.
Sounds dirty.
And the GOP has a decision to make.
How many pumpkins is too many?
If they are willing to go America first, then maybe they can keep their majority. Or they can hold off the worst losses in the face of the Democrats. But if the Republican Party doubles down on America last, then they will be finished in America.
Well, then I guess that ship has sailed. So I would, if I was you, I would just plan a vacation during election season, because I got news for you, dude. Not only is Donald Trump doing all the things that you're pissed about, but he's also nationalizing industry like a fucking commie. So, you're not going to get happier as the year goes on, is my point. Especially if you want Epstein files, because, come on.
We have to be willing to let them go extinct. Have to be willing to play hardball. We can no longer make the compromise that we will let you put America last in order to defeat the Democrats. No, America first is a precondition.
If you just flipped the sort of the color and the code words, this has been the TYT argument since they basically helped defeat Hillary and ran against Harris this time and tried to dent Biden, but because of COVID, we're unable to.
And we will single you out. If you're America last, we will make you lose.
What if they're America third? After Jesus and money? I mean,
America first, we will help you win. And we are outcome independent. If Republicans keep the House, then God bless. If they lose it, so be it.
Damn. So this is this is what they're staring down the barrel of, and it's not because of you and I. It's not because of a Democrat hoax, right? It's not because they are being forced. Let's see, Fuentes. Let's go. I'll go with the voting part of it, because I think he also did another. Yeah. One moment. Is that her? No. Okay. It's so hard to find this thing right now. Yeah, this is from December 2nd. So, a similar position. This was even more recent.
Hey, Nick, who is someone
Sorry.
you would vote for if you had to in 2028, regardless of party affiliation? Is it going to be a lesser of two evils like 2024 was?
Oh my gosh.
The Will sent-
You're a fucking goy.
The Will sent $20.
Here's the thing. Here's why that question bothers me. It's 2025, so we don't even know who's running. We know one person that's running. That person's name is J.D. Vance, and that's it. But nobody has started campaigning. And you fucking goyim, you're just like tripping over.
Oh, by the way, he's not Jewish. The reason he's saying goyim is because Epstein, in the recent document drop, refers to especially white people who aren't Jewish as kind of like the servant class, as as tools to be used. So the goyim are white Americans that can be manipulated and used by the powerful and elite and that kind of stuff. All shit, by the way, that the powerful, not Jewish people he hung out with agreed with. It was a class thing, but that was his code word for it. And so in the Groyper world around Fuentes, it has become code for, it's the new beta, if that makes sense, right? It's a reference to you're a beta in the world of it's us against them, and by them it's this cabal of baby-eating Jews. Just so you know, I'm just catching you up on the lingo.
For yourself to suck cock. I'm here telling, and I know.
Well, I guess that was a little on the nose. Sorry.
That's really vulgar. I apologize.
The doing of it or the saying it?
But that's what, when you give someone your vote, that's kind of what you're doing. If I tell you, like, stop, please stop voting for people that are raping you. You're getting raped. You voted for this. You voted to get raped.
Yeah, that's MAGA. That's, I mean, make assault great again. That was kind of what they were going for.
Again.
Look who they voted for. Like they ran on this idea that Biden was a hair sniffer when Trump had 27 like reports of sexual assault, 28 if you count the 14-year-old girl in the Epstein files.
You keep voting for your rapist. You vote, you get raped. You vote for your rapist, you get raped again. You vote for your rapist, you get raped again. And I come around and I say, hey, me again, you're getting raped again. Don't vote again.
Such an awkward thing. Like, sir, this is a Wendy's.
And people go, who should I vote for? Who should I vote for? Why? Hey, time out. Let's just wait. Let's just wait for the game to come to us.
Yeah, let's see if we're attracted to our rapist, is what he's saying now. Give me time to figure out who it's easier to pretend isn't rapey.
Okay? Instead of tripping over ourselves, who am I going to vote for? Who am I going to give my vote to? Why don't we turn the tables and say, let's sit back, aloof, and say, who is going to earn my vote? I'm waiting to see who will earn.
Say again, does this sound familiar? I mean, I don't care. Like, good that it's happening to them. But when it happens to us, it's why Trump is in office. Like, this tactic is a losing tactic for a reason. And by the way, a good portion of the ones on our side want that because they make their money being anti-establishment. And so if we win, they lose money. If you're sort of a Democratic-leaning podcast or something like that, and the Democrats are in charge, the only criticisms that really work are wonky, detail-oriented ones. It's why the news doesn't get high ratings. But if the guy in office is evil, on the other side, you're the righteous opposition. You can make a shit ton of money that way, and that's how they operate. Even in the case of when, and so they try to recreate that by when Democrats win, TYT tries to make them just as evil as Trump because you need us because we've got this magical utopian solution over here and the bad guys are in charge, no matter if they're on our side or not.
My vote, I'm not going to vote until someone makes an appeal to me.
I would think you'd have to wait for that because you're not appealing to anybody on your side.
I'm undecided. I'm sitting it out. As it stands right.
They literally called themselves undecided. What happened?
Right now, I'm not voting. I will wait to be wined and dined and seduced. That's the position we need to take.
Sorry, so I would just say don't drink and vote.
And that's what frustrates me. I get these super chats questions all the time. People are always saying, well, who are we going to vote for then? Well, what are we going to do? Is it lesser of two evil? What are we going to do? What are we going to do? What are they going to do?
Yeah, you tell them, Nick.
We are trying to survive out here. Well, more so you guys. I'm comfortable. Thanks. But you guys.
Yes, he's rich. He's rich now because I think some like crypto racist left him a bunch of money to keep him floating. So, all right. Yep, we're right up at the tail end of this. So I appreciate you guys being with me today. Okay, hold on. Let's see if there was. Oh God, yeah, I'm not going to put that up. Tomorrow morning on the radio show, Phil Bittner will be joining us in the second hour if energy and everything permits. And it'll be me and Johnny Million at the House Parks Radio program, Megaworldwiide. Now in our something year, 16th? I think it's 16th. Pretty sure. Not that it matters. I think it should be made relevant every year. I think every year is a golden anniversary of yourself. But this point, there is, we'll address it at some point. I don't know if you guys have heard of Basecamp. They don't do clips, so it's hard to cover. But Basecamp is this couple on, let's see, where's another one of their shows? So I could show you what they look like. Basecamp is a couple that is, I don't even know how to describe these guys. They're very kind of like racially based. It's a podcast. It's a man and wife. Basecamp, whatever. Okay. They get called out, like they were part of that whole thing where I want to say it was an NBC reporter was interviewing them on this thing, and they were saying there's genetic differences between the races, and she was like, there is no sign that there's differences between the races. Like, it's one of those rakes you don't have to walk into. Of course there's difference. Skin tone isn't that way because God likes a color palette. It's because of like vitamin D deficiency. As you move north, your skin gets lighter, because if it remains as dark and you live up where there's not as much sun, you will die of a lung infection because you will be low on vitamin D. Like that's one of the reasons. So your genetics are changed by how long your ancestors lived in a certain environment. That's not weird at all, and it's not wrong to say so. But this woman walked into that rake and kind of gave them a lot of gas recently. And they cover a lot of stuff that's, like from a right angle. And the husband is always running interference for Trump in the middle of trying to appear very scientific, right? And they've covered a few things like Epstein maybe being alive and those kind of things. I'll show you. Let me show you this. Okay, yeah. So this is the couple. This is Malcolm is the one on the left, and Simone is the woman, and she's often feeding their baby. And they're pronatalists. They believe everybody should have a bunch of babies, which I don't have a problem with, and I don't know why that's weird. Like, I don't even know why that's an issue. You know, they're not forcing people to get pregnant any more than Democrats are forcing abortions on anybody. So it's more of a social thing about you, but it's become political and part of this, and that's what they align with. And Kurt Metzger thinks they're vampires because of their family lineage, which is hilarious. And I guess how skinny and pale they are. Oftentimes, I think the one thing that stands out about me is that Malcolm's on the left and Simone's on the right, and they look so similar. You could tell either of them to go fuck themselves, and they could have sex with their mate. It's odd that way, but so they have a video. Why were Epstein's interests so close to ours? Epstein and us, same game, different teams. Understanding the world of elite power politics. I've not watched this, but there is this whole thing about as pronatalists, they're also for genetic superiority. One in theory, like I believe that if you could eliminate certain diseases at birth, like at conception, you should. If you could do that, if you could choose your egg and your sperm that made your kid, and it guaranteed they didn't get MS later in life or something like that, that you have a responsibility to do that if that was easy enough to do. Right now it's high science, but if everybody had the ability to do it relatively simply, you should, because why would you saddle someone with that in their life or whatever, anything that gets passed down that's kind of permanent, cleft palate, other kind of things. If you could eliminate those things from the gene pool and not have them spring on somebody, it seems like you would do that just for their health and well-being, because there's more to them than in their life than maybe the cross they would have to bear by a genetic twist of fate. But they've turned it into like, we need to cook some super babies, and that Epstein was allegedly in on this in the same way that they were. And their fucking thumbnails are magic. I'm pointing at the X chromosome. We want to be like them. And apparently Simone is very curious, concerned about the whole thing. Trying to look as spooky and gaunt as she possibly can. While Asian cat baby lady is playing a game while pregnant with some scientist's genome or some shit like that. This is one of those shows that eventually I'm going to have to crack into. They don't do clips, really. So I'm going to have to crack into and show you a piece of it, because most of them are an hour or longer. To break into this. But they are informing the conversation on the right in ways people don't even know about. And there are a lot of moments where they're talking about stuff where they're like, I don't know, was Hitler that wrong? Kind of stuff. They verge on that kind of stuff. And it's one of those things where you fall back and go, no, it's not wrong to want the trains to go on time. It's where those trains are going that kind of matters, right? And the rest of us know that. So we could, how about this? How about point to everybody else that got the trains to run on time that didn't do a genocide? All right. Anyways, I'm going to drop you off with Tara Devlin and have a great show with her. Check her out. Tell her I said hi in the raid. And I will see you guys tomorrow on the radio show. Take care of yourselves and take care of somebody else. The world is full of the crazies. I'm just saying. It's and it's just gonna keep getting stranger. So I'll see you tomorrow. Woo. Thank you for the super chats, you guys. Really appreciate it. They're very needed these days, because I'm gonna have a spotty schedule. Oh, and Monday I will not have a show because it's a travel day. It's Columbus Day, but I will also be traveling. Wish me luck.
Promises made, they rot in the air. A handshake, a lie, a blank, cold stare. Puppets dance, the strings are tight. Shadows whisper in the dead of night. This is some bullshit. We see through it. This is some bullshit. Can't undo it. Say it loud.
Sorry, President's Day. I was wrong. It's a holiday. Anyways, thank you. I misspoke because I was reading an article about the Columbus statue.
Paper thin truths that crumble like ash. Golden thrones built on stolen cash.
Thank you, Templeton.
We break the mold. Your house of cards is getting old. Static hums, the wires ignite. Truth's a bomb, we're ready to fight.
The YouTube raid will happen as soon as I sign off. I'll see you guys later.